Getting the new era of the F and Marks podcast.
Good evening, Commissioner.
What? Anyway, we are starting right now our partnership with Daily Wrestling Entertainment. This is our first Facebook Live with them, so.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, welcome to episode
114
of the F and Marks podcast.
I'm Jay.
And I am Brainless Bob.
So, a lot to get to this week, but before we get anything to go, oh, look at that. Beautiful. Gotta love when that happens, first thing.
Yes.
Yeah, anyway. We're still rolling on Periscope and all
so we
that
might as well
stuff.
just keep going on that stuff until we get reconnected and everything
So,
on the Facebooks.
Keep going.
Okay. We have a lot to discuss today. We're going to do, obviously, our Good, the Bad, and the Brainless, like we typically do every single week. We have NXT UK Takeover tomorrow, Blackpool.
yes.
We're going to discuss that a little bit. We're going to get into the whole AEW situation as they basically announced, like we discussed.
Well, they had that big rally this week.
They had that big
and
rally
they had a lot
Tuesday.
of signings, and a lot of news has come out from that, and we'll definitely get into that. So,
We also wanted to touch base on the whole Lars Sullivan situation.
which just bubbled up in the last couple of days. So,
Yeah, make things interesting.
yeah.
And then we're going to also talk about the other 5 individuals who will be called up from NXT in the coming weeks, I guess you could say. I think it's going to start. We're going to start seeing them kind of trickle in. Starting next week.
Royal Rumble, I think, is really going to be the big.
That's going to be the big one. I think one in particular is definitely going to come out at the Royal Rumble. I think.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens. We'll get into that in a second. So, oh, somebody's already asking about the thoughts on Braun Strowman's terrible promo on Raw. Well, we've kind of been boycotting Raw, but we heard so much about it. The Braun Strowman promo was terrible. Obviously, we found out that poor Braun still is not physically cleared to do anything physical, which is kind of concerning, seeing that the Royal Rumble's shade over 2 weeks away,
Yes.
and he can't get physical, and he's going to be in the ring with Brock Lesnar. Are you freaking kidding me?
Let's get physical.
Just stop.
I'm sorry.
They're terrible.
I know.
But yeah, Braun cuts a bad promo, and part of that was like I think they wanted him to get physical with Brock, but he can't. So that excessively long promo that was excessively terrible, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but glad that we're not watching Raw full time, and that'll be great. Yeah. No, Braun has mic skills.
It's kind of this, it's bad that he had a bad promo because typically he's one of the better ones on the microphone.
I mean,
he's gotten
Roman Reigns was terrible, and
for a
he's
long
gotten
time, too.
He's not shit.
That rivalry that he had with John Cena definitely did wonders for him.
Oh, no doubt.
As as a talker on the microphone. Braun Strowman, since basically he was in the Wyatt family to where he is now, he is leaps and bounds better than what he was before.
Absolutely.
Hey, you can have a bad day.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
How many bad promos has Cena had? A lot of them.
Yeah.
Because it was meathead bullcrap. But whenever you give him, good material to work with, he knocks it out of the park. So
How many good promos has Kalisto had? 0. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
the best one was the draft. The fucking draft promo is the greatest when he just ran out. Oh, that's so good.
That's great.
So good. But anyway, this is our first episode on Daily Wrestling Entertainment, so we're really pumped about that.
Very
But for anybody who hasn't tuned in before, we're a couple of idiots who like to drink 40s and talk professional wrestling. So
Hey, I got feelings, man.
come on, you call yourself the brainless one.
Yeah, it
man.
doesn't mean I'm an idiot. It just means I don't have a brain.
You're an idiot.
The Scarecrow didn't have a brain, and you know what? He wasn't an idiot.
He came up with all the ideas.
He came up with all the ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, the Scarecrow and I have a lot in common. If you think about it, I came up with the idea of this podcast, and I would be the brains of the outfit if I only had a brain.
Yeah, beautiful. So anyway, we usually like to start with a little Billy D. Williams.
You know, I've
Talking
heard
about Colt 45, and that's what we enjoy
but I was never
drinking.
sure exactly
Cheers.
what that
While we
meant,
do
so
the
I got
podcast.
some, found out for myself.
So
Hey, Billy.
if you're 21 or older and you want to join in with us, feel free. If you want to turn this into your
The dynamite
your own little
taste of
drinking
Colt
game,
45,
feel
it
free.
works
We love
every
it.
time.
So
And we also have
Bootios! They make sure you ain't booty.
the unofficial spokesperson of the F and Marks podcast. So in case you aren't 21, you can always go to the store, go down the cereal aisle, get yourself a nice box of Bootios, and
yeah,
enjoy your Bootios while you're watching the podcast. Or you can go and get pancakes.
right.
The other unofficial,
Yeah, whatever.
breakfast food
It's
of
nothing.
the New
It's
Day.
nothing.
the New Day.
It's the New Day. It's not us. Damn it.
Yes. So yeah, let's get into the topics at hand.
All right, so the biggest news of the week was AEW having their big rally in Jacksonville. The Khan family obviously owning the Jaguars. They have a big spot there, so it was a great little thing. So, you gonna talk?
Yes. Very, very exciting situation because of that whole rally in Jacksonville. They had 18,000 people?
It was huge.
Yeah.
And they announced a whole myriad of stuff. The biggest surprise out of this whole thing, Chris Jericho has signed with AEW. And supposedly, this is the most lucrative contract Jericho's ever signed. More lucrative than any of his WWE deals. And they're allowing him to wrestle in New Japan and allowing him to have his cruises. So, I mean, he's going to be making a crap ton of money, and he's going to basically do whatever the hell he wants.
And it's a good thing that he has this contract with AEW because a lot of the guys that are in AEW, or a good portion of the guys, were also part of the Jericho cruise that he had back in October. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of those guys coming back for the Cruise of Jericho.
Well, Cruise of Jericho too, I'm sure is gonna be an AEW sponsored event. It's not gonna be Ring of Honor like it was before. So
Yes, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens with the future of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho did say after Wrestle Kingdom that he would like to have a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
yeah,
It'd be interesting to see if he gets that title shot. And, I mean, obviously he is a GOAT. He is the best in the world at everything he does.
damn straight. Why do you think we got the GOAT picture back there? So,
Because it's a great picture, obviously.
well, we've got somebody who loves your Paul Heyman shirt there on Daily Wrestling Entertainment
I
there.
appreciate that. I am a Paul Heyman guy, no pun intended.
And I heart Sean O because Sean O is an F and Marks Hall of Famer. He's my friend. He's a pro wrestling announcer, and damn it, he's freaking hilarious.
And he is the man who came up with the idea of the name. Or he's not.
He,
really the
well,
idea.
no.
He's-
Sean was always like kind of degrading people, like going fucking Marks. So one day I was like, going, you know what would be a good name for our show?
The F and Mark.
The F and Marks.
And it was
Yeah, so that's how it all started.
It was
But, yeah,
fantastic, and that's part of the reason why he's a Hall of Famer.
that's right. So Jericho signing, big freaking deal. Supposedly in the last few weeks he was actually talking with WWE, and then it kind of broke off. And that's why we no longer see Chris Jericho on the intro to WWE television. I get why they took him off, but when he started doing stuff with other entities,
Promotions.
they didn't take him off.
Right.
But apparently this was the last straw because obviously WWE sees them as more of a threat than anybody else. Because they're trying to do different things.
And-
They talked about the different things.
And that was one of the things for me too about this whole AEW situation, the promotion being the way that it is. And it kind of made me think about a different topic a little bit about how Vince McMahon is going to regret firing Cody Rhodes. Or
Well,
letting
no, Cody
go.
Rhodes asked for his release.
I think that was like the dumbest thing WWE has done because of the fact that Cody Rhodes proved that you can be successful outside of WWE, with his ventures in Ring
And you
of
can do
Honor,
whatever the frick you
international,
want. He has creative control.
Yeah.
And that was a big problem that he had for a long time was hey, I don't want to do this Stardust thing. I'll do it to the best of my ability, but I'd really like to go back to being Cody and like
He was
you know,
awesome as Stardust too, though.
I love dashing Cody Rhodes. I know I'm probably in the minority, but
No, I
those
like-
vignettes freaking killed me. Then after he got like kicked in the face by Rey Mysterio and then started putting the paper
mask.
bags, those
Yeah.
were freaking fantastic.
He was such a
I
great
loved
character. He was one of my favorites in WWE, and I was very sad to see him go. Obviously, I'm very happy for him.
He's
and
creatively
everything that is-
satisfied
yeah,
now.
he's-
Good
he's-
for him.
He's done great things. And I will say this, him being at the forefront of this AEW situation is a lot scarier for Vince McMahon than a lot of people will understand. You know, the novice wrestling fan won't understand it, but if you think about it, like back in the days of the NWA and WCW and like the early years of WCW, you know, right when they transitioned from NWA to WCW, who was one of the creative geniuses behind all of that?
Well, it was Dusty Rhodes for a long
Yes.
time.
And now you have
He was
Dusty-
not the creative genius of Clash of the Champions 13.
Correct. He wasn't the genius behind Clash of the Champions 13, which is still one of your favorite shows. But the fact is that Cody Rhodes is the son of Dusty Rhodes. And if you don't think that Dusty Rhodes has taught Cody a thing or two before he passed about what it's like to be successful in the wrestling industry, then you have another thing coming to you.
Well, and Cody's said, hey, I learned a lot from Vince McMahon, too. So, you know, Cody is one of the executive vice presidents, and they've actually come out and said that he's more or less going to be in control of the male side of the roster. Young Bucks are also executive vice presidents. They're going to be kind of in charge of the tag teams. And Brandy Rhodes is going to kind of be in charge of the female roster. And she is the chief brand officer. So, you know, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good minds. And the top of the whole thing is Tony Khan, who's the son of the owner of the Jaguars, who apparently is a huge wrestling fan. And I saw an article where it more or less said that Tony Khan is going to be the Vince McMahon. He's going to be the head of creative and will make all decisions. So, and you know, Christian came out this week and said, hey, I had a meeting with the dude. He remembered all sorts of things about matches I didn't remember. He has a really, really astute wrestling mind. So,
Yeah.
but they also talked, one thing I thought was interesting about a weekly wrestling show. So apparently they are probably pretty close to a TV deal with somebody somewhere. So I don't know where they're going to end up. There's rumors that they're possibly partnering with Impact Wrestling. I don't think they're going to like end up on the Pursuit channel and, you know, hunting, you know, deer and
Yeah.
crap like that. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see where they land. And the Khan family has more money than the McMahon family, so
It's going to be
they're paying people.
Yeah.
So I mean, they already have, you know, a handful of really big names. You know, a couple of people that are like not as high up there as far as like name recognition.
It's Chris Jericho.
But you know, then you have like free agents out there, like, you know, Kenny Omega's contracts up with New Japan as of January 31st. So, which megastar outside of WWE do you see going to WWE one day?
Now, with that, are we talking about big star as in like a guy from like a New Japan or a Ring of Honor, maybe even like an Impact? Are we talking about guys like that?
Somebody-
Are we talking about somebody who has made a name for themselves like internationally that a lot of people
I think
might
it
not
could be
know?
any of that.
Because there's
Think of
one name,
somebody.
and there's a name that really sticks out for me.
Cody or Kenny Omega.
I think with this whole new ventures with the AEW, I don't think we're ever going to see Cody Rhodes back in the WWE ring. I don't even, if depending on how petty Vince has his way, I don't even think we're going to see Cody Rhodes in the WWE Hall of Fame. I think once Vince finally goes and Triple H is like, yeah, you know, I like Cody Rhodes and everything. I think eventually he'll get in, but as long as Vince is around, we'll never see Cody in the Hall of Fame. Kenny Omega would be a very interesting name.
I don't think he'll end up in WWE. Honestly, interviews that he's given recently, his big thing was he
Creative
wanted
control.
creative freedom, creative control, and, you know, I think that's part of the fun for him. Where, like, if you go into WWE, you kind of become part of the creative sausage factory that they have,
Right.
where they just kind of give you scripted promos, and it's just a lot of it's very vanilla, and I don't think Kenny Omega likes vanilla. I think he likes being able to be himself and likes being a freaking wrestler.
Here's a very interesting name I thought of. Okada. I could see Okada being the one that actually makes the jump from New Japan over to WWE. It's going to be interesting to see this whole Shinsuke Nakamura thing. If he had a lot more success, like if Nakamura had actually won the WWE Championship and they were building towards Nakamura being like the star of SmackDown Live. Obviously, you have a lot of stars on SmackDown Live between him and AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe and The Miz, and you have
Randy Orton.
There's just a plethora of people on
Rey
SmackDown.
Mysterio.
Rusev even, Jeff Hardy. I mean, the names go on and on and on, and I haven't even talked about the man.
Right.
And, with Asuka winning the Women's Championship for SmackDown was definitely a step in the right direction for them to help them pursue Japanese stars that are making a name for themselves in New Japan. I don't even know if Okada really has anything more to prove in New Japan. Naito would be another name I could think of. I think Okada, for whatever reason, Okada is the name for me that really sticks out that could make the leap from Japan over to WWE and could be a star for them. Another name that I actually wanted to throw out there is a name maybe a lot of people might not know about. I've actually discussed this with you previously. I've talked to a lot of people about this previously. A name is Walter. Just Walter. That's his name is Walter. He wrestles over in Europe. I want to say he wrestles in Germany. WWE has had discussions with Walter. He just looks like a fucking side of beef. If Hot Rod Roddy Piper was around, he'd be like, look at the size of this ham hock.
Right.
The guy looks the part. He looks like a wrestler that could have, been successful and made a name for himself in the 80s. He kind of is like a combination of like Andre the Giant and King Kong Bundy, just in much better shape than those guys. He's more or less like maybe like a Hillbilly Jim, John Studd type of situation because he wears the attires like them. So that's the name that I'm going to go with. Is the most likely to sign with WWE.
All right, and be a star. All right, good.
He
said that would make a name for themselves.
Oh yeah, make a name for himself is Walter. Be a star? No, as long as Roman Reigns comes back healthy.
You don't need to be the number one guy to be a damn star. The Undertaker technically was, to me, never the number one guy.
True. He was the number one heel at one point, though.
He was never. Don't even probably need to be a top 10 guy to be a star. If you want to be the guy, yeah, but
a guy who can, I think he's capable of that. He's capable of being a star.
All right, good.
That's what I'm going with. Those are the two names that come up to mind for me.
All right. Well, I mean, I think because there are so many choices out there now, I don't think that there are a lot of people that are left that really are looking to get to WWE. I think too many of them are like going, hey, you know what? I could do my own damn thing, and I don't have to deal with the BS that they deal with in WWE. But one thing that I think is freaking awesome about AEW, that they're going to start everybody, men and women, at the same pay scale. It's going to be equal, and Tony Khan, in his interview with X-Pac this week, actually said that, hey, everybody's going to start out with the same level of pay, but it's going to, if you make us more money, you're going to make more money. So, but it's good that equal pay for, equal work. So good on them for that. There were also rumors going about that they were going to, offer health care. Or possibly offer healthcare. Khan kind of tamped that down. The Young Bucks were kind of saying, oh, yeah, that's something we're thinking about. Khan was a little bit more no, they're independent contractors, and it's up to them to kind of take care of themselves, so to speak. So, good evening. How are you? From England.
Ooh.
So that 5 hours difference, so that's probably 1 a.m. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. He's at work too.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Wish I could watch this while we're
Yeah, Ben. Thanks for tuning in, man. But basically, Khan came out and said like, "Hey, we're not going to be offering health insurance." I guess people like Cody, people like the Young Bucks, because they're also executives in the company, are going to get health insurance. But at least for now, it doesn't appear that the wrestlers will get health insurance. But it would be interesting. I think it would be a game changer, honestly, if they offered that. Then how many people would say, "All right, screw you, WWE. I'm heading down to AEW."
that would be the worst thing that could happen to WWE is if they offered the health care to the superstars or to the wrestlers.
Right.
In fact, from now on, when I talk about AEW, I'm going to talk about wrestlers, and obviously, when I talk about WWE, I'm going to call them superstars because if I call WWE
you could call them whatever the damn hell you want, man.
Well, I don't want Vince McMahon yelling at me.
Yeah.
That's why I don't call them superstars. Or
I don't care if Vince McMahon yells at us.
that would be great. It would be a mark-out moment of my life.
Right. You son of a bitch.
You're fired.
So,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I can't get over that one.
Yeah.
So
Great.
So obviously, some of the other signings that have happened in for AEW, we did touch base on Chris Jericho. We talked a little, obviously,
The Rhodes,
Cody
Young
Rhodes
Bucks.
and the Young Bucks and everything. Hangman Page left New Japan to go to AEW. A name that's actually sticking around with New Japan, instead of going to AEW, is Marty Scurll. That's my dude. I fucking love Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
He's got a tremendous beard. And you know how I feel with my personal affinity towards people with great beards and everything. So, he's sticking around Japan. Other names that have come up.
Well, we got Neville. Well,
Neville Pac. Yes. So Hangman Page at that rally said he wanted to be the first ever AEW World Champion, and that he'll fight anybody, whoever it takes, to become that champion. And out came the Keebler Elf himself, the wrestler formerly known as Neville, now known as Pac.
He was Pac before he became Pac again.
So he is two Pac.
Yeah. So, Ben's saying like AEW is the thing he's been most excited about wrestling-wise since Lucha Underground was introduced.
Lucha Underground was fantastic too.
Well, but I agree. I mean, it's something where like it feels like it's fresh and different and freaking awesome. So I'm super psyched for to see what they come up with. I'm excited to see, like, based off of All In, I want to see like what kind of production they're gonna have. I don't want it to feel like the Impact Zone, because the Impact Zone looks like if you fart, everybody's gonna get knocked out. I mean, literally, I've been to the Impact Zone. I went to a pay-per-view down there, and like it was a really cool time, but it's such a small place.
Right.
I want it to like look like. It doesn't need to look like, WWE filling 17,000 arenas.
Right.
It just needs to, just be a more impressive presentation. It could be something like what they have for NXT UK, where they have a few thousand things, but it's just so well produced.
Right.
So
it's all about presentation.
Absolutely.
I mean, you would know that you've been in the media for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all about presentation. That's why WrestleMania is such a big, extravagant thing, because during the year they don't make the big deals about the entrances now that all the pyrotechnics is taken out and everything. But part of WrestleMania, and one of my favorite parts about WrestleMania, is you get those unique entrances, and I'm like, I can't wait to see the Undertaker's entrance at WrestleMania. I can't wait to see what Sting's looks like. Thanks for ruining that one, Vince McMahon.
Well, and this is something we slightly discussed. I badly I want to see Xavier Woods come out and do the Apollo Creed entrance from Rocky IV. Make it happen.
You know whose entrance, and I was actually thinking about this earlier this week, not to kind of get off subject and everything, but there's one wrestler in particular whose entrance at WrestleMania I think is going to be superb. It's going to be awesome. And I really do hope that we end up going to WrestleMania this year. EC3.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is I think his and that fucking, especially at MetLife Stadium, if they get it just like have him come out at like 8:30, have this match at like 8:30, where it's just being dark enough, and with the EC3, and he's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
are
yeah.
you fucking kidding me? I've never been so hyped for a WrestleMania entrance since Bobby Roode's, and his wasn't even that great. His Takeover entrance is not, shit on his WrestleMania entrances. Is WrestleMania entrance. But, there were certain wrestlers, because, yes, obviously you look forward to The Undertaker's entrance. You obviously look forward to Triple H's entrance. John Cena always has a unique entrance. And I will still say to this day, the year John Cena wrestled at WrestleMania, I think it was like 24 or 25, where he had the fucking marching band, and they were actually playing his entrance. I fucking love that. That is still one of my favorite WrestleMania entrances of all time, when they actually did the marching band. I'm not obviously,
Jeff said it's because he's from the land. That's why you want EC3.
Right, I'm sure that's what it is. You know whose entrance we won't see at WrestleMania? Johnny Gargano's.
Sad.
There.
Take it easy. So, Ben thinks that, Triple H has no ill will against, Cody, Hangman, Young Bucks. They actually did have, negotiations with them, and thinks that, like, Triple H, and you know what? Vince has always been a big proponent of competition because he thinks it brings out the best in people. And, I think he's right. And I think, this is, it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. I'm glad that there are so many choices out there, and there's so many easy ways to watch it now. It's not like it used to be where it was extremely difficult. So,
right.
Freaking love it.
And think about this. During the time when WCW and WWE were both at their peaks was when WCW had the NWO doing their thing, and WWE had the Attitude Era. And that was, in my opinion, the best era of WWE. In my opinion, it was also the best era of WCW. Eventually when WCW had it where like more than half the roster was in fucking NWO, and it was fucking stupid. And it's like, yeah, I can understand Hogan and Nash and Hall, and throw in like maybe Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect and the $1 Million Man. Yeah, that's fine. But like, why is Scott Norton part of the NWO?
No, whatever.
And it's stuff like that. Just really. It stuck out to me because it's like you really are watering down WC or the NWO because you have guys like Big Papa Pump and Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton. It's Scott Norton. That's what it is. It's Scott Norton. Scott Norton's almost on that list with fucking X-Pac and Matt Hardy 2.0. And...
All right, so Ben's talking about Mania entrances. He wants to see an Aleister Black entrance.
Oh my God. I don't think we'll get it this year.
No, it might be a couple years.
It could be next year's.
Although he could be on the show next year. I don't think he's going to be in a big spot, so I don't think we're going to get a full Aleister Black entrance until a couple years.
Yeah,
sure. It'd be freaking great, though.
No,
all right.
No end in sight for his run in NXT.
Whatever.
That means it's just farther down the road. And it was because his name was Tommy Henry before. Never mind. I'm gonna quit trying with the jokes and everything.
Yeah, your jokes are fucking terrible. They're terrible.
As Al Bundy would say, let's put it in the oven and see if it bakes.
Right.
Let's put it in bed with Madonna and see if she sleeps with it. That's why Al Bundy is the greatest of all time.
And his cousin is not in the Hall of Fame
yet.
His
cousin should be in the fucking Hall. Don't even get me started on that.
King Kong Bundy.
And if Corey was actually watching, he was like, King Kong Bundy's the most overrated wrestler of all time. Wrong.
It doesn't matter.
Wrong. But anyway, there is one female that actually signed with AEW that really sticks out for me. There's one female in particular.
Okay.
And that would happen to be Britt Baker. And some people.
Why does she stand out to you?
Because she is the girlfriend of
Adam Cole, baby! So we actually had a question about who we thought was the best wrestler of the Undisputed Era. And to me, it is Adam Cole, baby.
I love Adam Cole. I think that Adam Cole has been the biggest star down in NXT since his arrival after he got booted from the Bullet Club. And it's that whole situation is still funny to me that Cody Rhodes left WWE because he didn't like the way that he was being booked and the way that they, because of the whole Stardust thing. And then he joins the Bullet Club and becomes the leader of the Bullet Club. And they kick out Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
And they replace him with Marty Scurll, which is kind of funny about that. And then Adam Cole ends up going to WWE and ends up in NXT. And he has been a fucking huge star for them.
Yeah.
Once he gets to the main roster, I think that momentum is going to carry over for him if they book him properly.
Right.
And
we have somebody chiming in on the Facebook saying that Mikey Whipwreck is the best.
yes! 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 I 100% agree with you. Yes, fucking Mikey Whipwreck. He is the most underrated wrestler of all time. Mikey fucking Whipwreck? Are you kidding me? When they did the top 50 greatest moments in ECW history, the fact that Mikey Whipwreck winning the ECW world title was not the #1 moment in ECW history is an absolute fucking travesty. You know who he beat to retain the ECW World Heavyweight Championship?
Who did he beat, Cousin Bobby?
He beat the GOAT himself. The man who was actually on here with the flag. He left ECW. He ended up as the ringmaster. What? And then they wanted to make him Fang McFrost. What? And then he became the GOAT, the legend, Stone Cold Steve Austin. What's up, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Just like he beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. In fact, it says it in his Twitter profile. It's like Mikey Whipwreck, former ECW World Heavyweight Champion, beat Steve Austin. Take the title. I'm like, of course. Why wouldn't you? I would do the same thing. I'm surprised my profile doesn't say I got retweeted by Steve or cheers. Steve Austin wished me cheers when I got his beer. I'm like, you kidding me? That was better than Shawn Michaels and I talking about fucking Chris Wanky.
If you guys enjoy beer and if you enjoy IPAs, the Broken Skull IPA is very tasty. Enjoy it.
It was worth every penny. I would have paid 3 times the amount of what I did because the fucking beer was that good.
Chris Wanky. From co-follower of the year, Jimmy.
Yes, from Jimmy. I think I named him co-follower of the year. Yes, I did because I like Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, you were very drunk at the moment when you announced that.
There's a lot of things I don't remember from that episode.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yes.
You know, Jimmy. We're only like not even a month away from, or a month removed from the Marquee Awards and the Evan Marks Hall of Fame induction. I can always withdraw you as follower of the year if you're going to come up with some stuff like that. Man. Chris Wink to see the Giants. Please.
That would be great. Yeah.
I don't want the kid from Duke. I'm very
if
skeptical.
you want to trigger him, you talk about the Giants and how shit they are.
Just a little skeptical because the last time the Giants drafted a quarterback from Duke who wore number 17, it turned out to be the worst fucking thing ever. And then he wasted a first-round pick in the supplemental draft to draft Dave Brown.
All right, so aside from that, getting back to wrestling, we actually have a couple of people talking about Undisputed Era where, we got Ben saying that Kyle O'Reilly is the most technically best wrestler in Undisputed Era, and then we got another person saying that Roderick Strong is the best wrestler.
Okay, I'm gonna.
If we're talking technical, we're not talking.
No, you're right. No, 100% agree. Roderick Strong, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again about all 4 members of the Undisputed Era. They are the perfect combination of individuals to make a stable in professional wrestling. You got your big star that you basically.
We don't have a meathead in that group.
They don't. The thing is, they're that good. They don't really need a meathead. Because you have Adam Cole, who is your star.
Adam Cole, baby!
Your star, your leader, the guy who is at the forefront of the group, and he is the perfect guy to be your leader. You got your Kyle O'Reilly, who is your technical in-ring technician that you have. He's kind of like their Bret Hart of the Hart Foundation. Like when they had Bret Hart as the Hart Foundation, he was kind of the leader too. But he was, one of the best technical wrestlers. He's pound for pound. I would say he's the one guy in the Undisputed Era I wouldn't fuck with because he knows how to wrestle. Roderick Strong, and this is an absolute compliment coming from me when I say this. Roderick Strong is the Brock Holt of the Undisputed Era because Roderick Strong is good as a singles competitor. Roderick Strong is fantastic As a tag team competitor, Roderick Strong is just one of those guys that no matter what you have him do, he's going to go out there and be successful, and you cannot take that away from him. That's why I think that's why I say he's the Brock Holt of the
Yes,
of
the
Undisputed
Brock
Era.
Star.
And then
Booyah.
you got my boy Bobby Fish.
Oh,
who's
the
who's
greatest
fucking-
facial
who's
hair.
who's the looks of the group.
Yes.
And he's not terrible in the ring either.
Yeah.
The fact that him and Kyle O'Reilly have won tag team championships everywhere that they've been a team together. Bobby Fish has won tag team championships with everybody he's worked with. Bobby Fish is one of those guys that he's so underrated that he could be one of the top guys in any other stable that he was in. But the fact that he is a great compliment to the group that is the Undisputed Era. I'm not going to argue with anybody to any of those guys in Undisputed
But they're
Era.
all freaking
They're all
awesome.
fantastic. I love all those guys, and they all have
Yeah.
the potential to be something. Jesus Christ.
Main roster, Vince McMahon gives him a fish gimmick.
Imagine-
Wait. They can make vignettes like they did for Skinner back in the day when Skinner was like in the Everglades and he came out of the water, except for Fish could be like fishing and...
Yeah, he's gonna be a fisherman. That's what
Yeah.
Make me some shrimp.
Oh, man.
Oh,
So,
Lord have mercy.
I think it was Eric who enjoyed your Mikey Whipwreck rant. He loved that you love
Oh, I love
the
Mikey
Whipwreck.
Whipwreck.
So, yeah, good times, man.
His story is just fantastic. That's why I love Mikey Whipwreck.
He follows us.
Yes, he does. He follows us on the Twitters.
Yeah. So, booyah, man.
So, yeah. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that all started with Britt Baker, and then...
Wow, who would have thought that Britt Baker would have turned into like a giant conversation about the Undisputed Era?
Yeah.
It's because of the fact that she is a tremendous wrestler? Perhaps. Is it because of the fact that she's joined AEW? Perhaps. Or is it because of the fact that she is fucking Adam Cole, baby? Yeah, that's what it is. Obviously, that's what it is.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think we touched on all the... Oh, no, I'm sorry. One more thing I wanted to bring up with AEW before we move on to our next topic. Potential... I mean, we've talked about the people who've already signed.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody out there that isn't under contract with WWE that you could see going to AEW? Whether it's a male, a female, or a tag team that could...
I mean, to me, the biggest name out there, is Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is going to end up in AEW.
Can we?
No doubt about it. He will end up in... If we put him automatically in there, if you're talking somebody who's not
That's a good
signed
one, Jimmy.
anywhere...
That is a very good person. I completely forgot about Emma.
So Emma is somebody that's out there. I think she's been wrestling, and she's done some stuff with I think Ring of Honor. So I think she's kind of free to do what she wants. I don't think she has an exclusivity contract.
Yeah.
To me, the biggest name out there, and it was interesting. Somebody asked him on Twitter this week, and he actually responded: the Ryback. I know how much you love the Ryback, but with Ryback, he said that he needs a couple of stem cell treatments, and he needs to get his shoulder scoped before he could even think about wrestling. But I think a guy like Ryback, who in 2012 probably should have won the WWE Championship,
100% agree.
but the only thing that stopped that from happening was the fact that they had already planned to have The Rock versus CM Punk at the Royal Rumble for the title, and that was the only thing that. Otherwise, that Hell in the Cell match, no doubt about it, Ryback would have won the title because he was so freaking hot at the time. So I'm going to say Ryback.
Enzo and Big Cass.
Enzo and Big Ass? Yeah.
What did Ben say? I'm sorry.
Well, Enzo has come out and said he's never going to wrestle again. He said his body's too messed up from it. But I think Enzo is going to find himself in the poorhouse, and he probably is going to be desperate for money.
It's because he sucks as a rapper.
He sucks as a rapper, and it seems like he's a piece of shit human being. So. James Storm, I wouldn't mind seeing James Storm in AEW.
Another name that got floated out, and I'm sorry if I missed your name when you brought it up. Another name that came out was Dustin Rhodes, Goldust.
His contract's up,
I don't
I think, pretty
see
soon.
him as an in-ring performer, but I could definitely see him going to AEW and working as a producer, kind of like Billy Gunn, who actually did his impromptu signing as a first official producer for Northeast Wrestling. Northeast Wrestling, huh? Right?
Yeah.
So I guess it's only a matter of time before Ron Zombie ends up in AEW.
He didn't even
cheer, Dad.
Yes.
Oh, so our new followers on Facebook. One of these days, I'm gonna have to tell you all the story of my one experience with NEW with the legendary Ron Zombie.
That's a good name there, Ben. Austin Aries.
Ooh,
Austin Aries is kind of not.
Yeah.
He's kind of floating out and about out there. I mean, he's getting a little up there in age, so I mean, I don't think he'd be a main level guy, but I think he'd be a guy to give somebody else credibility.
Lucha Brothers, those are my guys.
Mm-hmm.
That is Phoenix and oh shit,
right.
Phoenix is one of them, and Pentagon. I'm sorry, Pentagon and Phoenix. They're the Lucha Brothers. They're my pick. Yep. If AEW gets the Lucha Brothers, all bets are off.
All right, so Eric brings up an interesting name. Now, this guy has said he's moved on from professional wrestling, but do you think CM Punk hates Vince McMahon enough to give him the finger and say, hey, I'm going to sign with AEW and I'm going to make a big splash here? Or do you think do you believe him, do you take him at face value that he's done with wrestling?
I think he's done as an in-ring performer in wrestling, but eventually AEW is going to have to, if they are planning on going to televised shows, they're going to need a good guy who could either be the play-by-play guy or a color analyst. And obviously, CM Punk has proven to everybody that he is the best on this mic, the best in that ring, the best in the world. I could see CM Punk in some capacity joining AEW. I would love to see him as a color analyst. I would watch it every week if he was the color analyst.
You know who I think will be the color analyst? Not CM Punk. His former best friend, Colt Cabana, I think will be a guy that will end up...
You are Colt Cabana, sure you are. No, I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, stop. So yeah, I definitely... I would see more of Colt Cabana and something like that. CM Punk has a whole bunch of money. He doesn't need to do anything else in his life right now, except for have fun with AJ Lee.
And go to Blackhawks games. And Cubs.
Right. Where Colt Cabana has quite a large legal bill to pay.
Do you think CM Punk could have kicked that 43-yard field goal that Cody Parkey missed last week?
No.
Okay.
And even he made that field goal.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes before.
Not even 5 minutes ago. Like
it was sad.
A minute before. Sad. So we brought up the names that we can think of outside of WWE. Who is the name in WWE most likely to join AEW?
And this is something we've discussed on our podcast before. And I agree with that. Dolph Ziggler, he's a guy who, at this point, like, he's done all he will in WWE. And at this point, like, I think he's made his money. I think he's happy with what his career has been. And I think he would rather not deal with the grind and the BS that WWE presents to him and kind of go like the Jericho route. See, like Zack Ryder, like, I love the dude. I don't see him, like, I can see him wrestling there, but he will not be like a top level talent. But that's just me. Ty Dillinger.
I think Ty Dillinger is a slam dunk for that. A name that keeps getting floated, because there's a few names that keep getting floated out, because there's 4 wrestlers in WWE whose contracts are coming up over the next few months.
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles is
top
the first name that comes to mind. And I know that AJ Styles has went to WWE and said that he wants to work the lesser schedule so he can spend more time with his family. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, their contracts are up around a couple
September,
months.
I believe.
They're up a few months after AJ Styles' contract is up, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Those are the 4 names that really stick out. For whatever reason, I think with Shinsuke Nakamura, he's either WWE or back to New Japan.
I don't know, man. Eric is saying Kurt Hawkins. Kurt Hawkins,
That's
I
not
think,
the first
enjoys the fact
That
that he loses all the time. He literally pitches to lose. He says, "I don't want to win."
I don't see Alberto Del Rio going to AEW. He has too much baggage.
I think Alberto Del Rio is too much of a head case for them to deal with. I think they would. WWE dealt with a lot of his BS.
Yeah.
Just because they're like, going, all right, well, he
is Alberto Del Rio. But you already knew that.
But like,
I fucking love
I dug him as a heel character.
Yeah,
I didn't.
absolutely.
I thought he was a terrible face.
When they and I hate the fact that I'm going to do this a little bit, but I kind of want to veer off a little bit because we did bring up Del Rio. When they were doing those vignettes for him, when they did those video packages for him, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. This guy is a fucking douchebag, blah 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 blah. And then he fucking came out with Ricardo Rodriguez, and he came out with the car, and he fucking did the thing with the fucking waterfall. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And why was it so great? It's all about presentation.
Yeah.
So the vignettes sucked, but the final package of what we got with Del Rio was what I love the fact that he had that thing. Also the fact that his real name is Alberto Rodriguez, and one of my best friends up in Connecticut, his name is Alberto Rodriguez. So we actually got him to go to people and be like, "Yo, I'm Alberto Rodriguez," but you already knew that.
So interesting name that was brought up by Eric. Again, a guy probably a little long in the tooth, but probably still has some good mileage on him. RVD. Ooh. RVD, I know that he does not want to work the WWE schedule, but if AEW made him, I think he would definitely not mind
Mr. Monday Night himself?
Doing some spots.
Oh, what the hell was his other nickname? The real deal or something like that? The big guy?
No. When he was in TNA, and I fucking loved his theme song, RVD, the whole effing show. And that's all it did. It RVD, the whole effing show. Like, if I heard that song for 2 minutes, I'd want to shoot myself in the head. But we're listening to it for like the 10 seconds that it took to walk the Impact ramp. It's great. Fucking loved it. But I'd love to see RVD do a couple of matches here and there against like some young dude. RVD against Neville. I'm sorry, against Pac would be fucking awesome.
Against the Keebler Elf. Just say it, the Keebler Elf. Nobody's gonna look at you any different.
He's an angry elf.
I would be too if I got
Yes.
The whole AJ stuff, because I really do think Anderson and Gallows will end up there. They're gonna need that big time talent tag team to go in there and help build up the tag team division. AJ Styles is the most intriguing name because now with this whole AEW thing, Hornswoggle's not going to AEW.
Come on! They could have him against El Torito.
AEW thing is the worst thing that
And
could have
Little Beaver.
happened for WWE, and it's the best thing that could have happened for AJ Styles because now Styles has all the
He's
leverage.
got the trump card, man.
He has all the leverage in the world with this whole AEW thing. Now all he could be like, I want this for money. I want this for my schedule. I want this and I want this. And WWE is basically going to have to give it to him because he is one of their top 3 stars in all of WWE.
Tommy Nicholas saying Curtis Axel going to AEW because he's still alive in the Royal Rumble. He said that he's still alive. Yes. Mr. Injury.
Hideo Itami. He's actually in a fatal 4-way for the Cruiserweight Championship at the Royal Rumble.
Does that mean he's going to die?
Probably. He's got a really good. He has more than a 25% chance of. He has a 25% chance of winning, but he has a 100% chance of getting injured.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably true. So
I think that AJ Styles is the one that benefits the most of anybody under contract with WWE because of this whole AEW thing. Because now he can ask for everything. He can ask for the fact that they're going to name the place. You know, the fact that the address is One Titan Tower. They can name the thing One AJ Styles Tower, and they're like, oh, we're going to have to give it to him. Because he's AJ Styles, and we don't want him to go to AEW because we already know what's going to happen.
On a Titan Tower note, guess who visited Titan Towers this week?
Is it R-Truth and Carmella?
Mela is money. And
My God,
apparently with Kathy Kelly, and they like filmed some vignettes. This is going to be the greatest thing ever.
They rolled up and they were at Corey Graves' house, and his bedroom was fucking fantastic. I can't wait for that. R-Truth right now is one of the most entertaining people in WWE. Everybody knows how I feel about it. And for our new followers on the Daily Wrestling Entertainment page, I have a personal affinity towards R-Truth. R-Truth has been a fantastic in-ring performer for WWE. The fact that his age and he can still wrestle as good as he does.
He's in phenomenal shape.
He could kick my ass. He'll forget about my bad, but it's great. And it's so ironic to us the fact that we are in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and one of the greatest moments in Monday Night Raw history happened right up the road 2 hours away in Richmond, Virginia, when R-Truth dressed up like a Confederate soldier for that episode of Raw back in, I want to say, 2011. Was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, and he did his version of the Saints Go Marching In. I will forever love R-Truth, and he will have a very special place in my heart because of that segment that he did.
Dude, when he did his heel turn on John Morrison in England and started smoking the cigarette, that was one of my favorite heel turns ever, which, I mean, catapulted Little Jimmy into the stratosphere.
We have a Little Jimmy.
Yes.
And Little Jimmy was Follower of the Year.
That's
By the way, I wanted to bring it up.
So Jacob has chimed in and says he thinks WWE needs to get rid of the PG era and bring in more adult themes. As much as I completely agree with you that a lot of the bullshit we see fucking sucks. As much as Seth Rollins is completely true when he says this.
Monday Night Raw has sucked. Monday Night Raw has sucked. Monday Night Raw has sucked.
And that is why my boycott continues. It's been over a month since the last time I actually watched Monday Night Raw.
So, as much as I would love to see the end of the PG era, I don't see it happening. And you know why it's not going to happen? Money. They've gotten some big name sponsors that would not support, unfortunately, a TV 14 project. But thankfully, we have awesome things on the network like the Edge and Christian show of awesomeness that is TV 14. And yes.
So, I'm definitely going to watch the Rumble. The Royal Rumble match itself is my favorite match of the year.
Yeah.
I fucking love the Royal Rumble. After WrestleMania, that's my favorite pay-per-view to watch because it's always good because you have the Royal Rumble match itself.
Yeah.
And
they're discussing when R-Truth was K-Quick. K-Quick was, I believe, a two-time hardcore champion. And R-Truth will be a future WWE Hall of Famer unless Vince McMahon decides that he does stupid things like he did with Vader. By the way, Vader is a effing marked Hall of Famer before he's a WWE Hall of Famer, and that's an atrocity.
I just wanted to mention to you, by the way,
that
when you were talking about how Tommy said something, I would like for you to actually give him the proper title that he deserves.
He is two-time Follower of the Year, co-follower of the year, and effing marked Hall of Famer.
You will thusly refer to him as such.
Yeah.
So such.
You know what, Jacob? I think both of us agree with you on that. Finn Balor is money, and they have not booked him properly.
His injury the night he won the Universal Championship at SummerSlam was the worst thing that could have happened for his career. Him winning the title, he would have right to the moon. And obviously, if his injury after he won the Universal Championship basically set up a domino effect. Because if it wasn't for him getting hurt, we never would have been blocked by Kevin Owens on Twitter.
All right, so Jeffrey just chimed in. Do we think that AEW is the new number 2 company in the United States?
I would like to see what their product is before I make those assumptions. Until
I
I
am
actually
gonna-
see a actual AEW show, I'm going to hold my opinions on that. And
I am going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say yes. I think this is. I just think they have a bunch of really smart people who know what the hell that they're doing, and they have a lot of money behind them. So I think they are going to be officially the new number 2. I'm going to say in 2019 they will be the new number 2.
Okay.
And I think it because I think they have a TV deal in place, and 2 interesting stations that Jimmy brought up a little earlier that could be partners with AEW, which I could kind of see. TBS or TNT.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
It could be the Ocho. Maybe they'll
I-
get Cotton.
If you think about it, especially with Khan being at the forefront of the AEW ventures, I could see them possibly working something out with being like on an ESPN Plus or an ESPN 3, something like that. They could work something out with ESPN. If they could get
But
the
ESPN right now has do they still have the deal with WWE where they have the appearances every week and things like that?
Charlie Caruso works for ESPN now.
So I'm going to say that
Oh my
ESPN
God,
probably.
Charlie Caruso, by the way.
I'm going to say that
Oh.
probably not.
That's true.
Probably not going to happen with ESPN, but like TBS and TNT, because they're no longer like they were like when they did the Time Warner merger. I think they were kind of embarrassed to have wrestling, even though wrestling was actually making them money. But basically, I think now maybe they're like going, hey, yeah, our ratings have dipped a lot. This is something that has a bit of buzz to it. Let's give this a try.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that. Jacob, though, first-time watcher and new follower. So thanks for
Appreciate you,
tuning
man.
in.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, Eric. Thanks for tuning in, Ben. We love the new people. We love comments. We love interacting with people. So yeah, man. Yeah. So
She's friends with 2 of his people he knows. That's awesome. I would love to be friends with Charlie Caruso.
yeah,
I'd love to be friends with benefits with Charlie Caruso.
Tommy Nicholas. Evan Marks Hall of Famer, Tommy Nicholas.
Thank you.
Now, with what's transpired this week, will Chris Jericho, the GOAT,
Holy
end
shit.
up in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Of course.
So, there's as much as there's animosity with Demolition and the Macho Man and a few other people. There is no way they could keep Jericho out of this Hall of Fame. Now, I boycotted the Hall of Fame because of the bullcrap that happened with Vader and so many other superstars that are way more deserving than, like, as much as I was entertained by the Bushwhackers, not better than Demolition.
Nope.
And
Vader
not better
blows.
than the Natural Disasters. Coco Beware at the bottom of,
Thanks for tuning in, Jimmy, as always.
you know,
Give me Charlie Caruso's number from your brother.
yeah. So, yeah.
I'll have to message him afterwards. I don't think he caught that. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the Demolition top 5 tag team in WWE all time.
They had the longest run until Vince McMahon got pissed off that they tried to sue him.
And I just can't see how they're going to keep Chris Jericho. They cannot keep Chris Jericho out, and they can't put him in after he is long gone from this world. I'm sorry, you just can't do it. You cannot deprive wrestling fans of that Hall of Fame induction speech. It's going to be the greatest induction speech of all time.
So Ben was saying that he trained with the Bushwhackers and said they were great guys.
We're not taking that.
Our good friend Sean O worked with Luke and said he was a really good dude.
The Bushwhackers-
They're great guys. Like they seem like fun and a good tag team. They never won tag team titles in WWF. Demolition were the longest running champs for a long time. So as much as I really appreciate the entertainment that the Bushwhackers supplied, and their induction speech was a lot of fun, Demolition needs to be in there. Vader should have been in there. And that's
years ago.
That's why I like literally the year that they put Stan Hansen in. They should have had like all right, two of them together, and they should have given each other speeches
at the same time.
Yeah,
100% agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean, we could sit here and we could talk for another hour about who should be in the Hall of Fame over who and everything like that. Because you talk about
Vader, who else should be in the Hall of Fame? X-Pac.
I'm gonna hit you with my fucking beer bottle. I swear to fucking God. One of these times you're gonna fucking catch this goddamn 40 bottle across your skull, and I'm gonna only slightly feel bad about it because I'm gonna have to find a permanent fucking co-host. And I mean, the first person up in line is the man that's up and is actually watching right now, and that's El Jefe. He would be next up in line if anything were to happen to you, like a fucking 40 bottle across your skull.
Right.
But it just wouldn't be the same.
So Ben thinks that AEW, because SmackDown's going to be going live on Fridays coming
September of 2019.
This year.
Which is this year.
I
keep forgetting.
He thinks that AEW will be on Tuesday nights. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all, because I mean you end up you have Monday Night Raw, you have NXT on Wednesday. You've got Impact's on Friday. Obviously, SmackDown will get way more viewers on Fox than Impact will on the Pursuit channel. So, I mean, yeah, that kind of leaves a hole on Tuesday. And
I can see them doing Monday.
Yeah.
Bring them back to Monday Night Wars.
I don't think they're going to try that anytime soon. Because TNA tried that when they brought in Hogan, they brought in all those big names. It didn't work out.
True.
So.
Speaking of Mondays and wrestlers they were supposed to bring in on Mondays, a wrestler who was supposed to make an appearance on Monday did a no-call, no-show. Now, I don't know how your job works, but a no-call, no-show would be a no-no in my books. And that would happen to be one of the NXT's bright stars who has a lot of people who back him, including the man who is the one behind the one in 21-1. He is the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. Supports this individual. And that individual happens to be Lars Sullivan. So it came out a couple days ago that Lars Sullivan was supposed to make his debut on the main roster on Monday. And he, for whatever reason, had an anxiety attack about showing up on Monday. And he basically just disappeared. And nobody knows what the hell happened. He was then supposed to have a dark match on SmackDown the next night. And wasn't there for that either. Ended up on a plane and flew back to Colorado.
Back home.
Where he lives. And now nobody knows what the fuck's going on with Lars Sullivan.
So apparently, like, WWE, because of Mauro Ronaldo, kind of has
Mamma Mia!
a little bit more of a compassionate heart about this. Supposedly, and I think Dave Meltzer reported this, that
the most overrated man in all of professional wrestling, Dave Meltzer.
Hey, you could talk about how overrated he is, but he is a man who knows a lot of shit. And supposedly, one of the things that he heard was that Lars Sullivan was supposed to be pushed. Why do you think they keep on showing these vignettes? Because fucking Vince McMahon loves it. He thinks it's fucking great. He was supposed to be pushed to the moon, and he was supposed to have a match, allegedly, with John Cena at WrestleMania 35.
See,
now, this probably is throwing a monkey wrench into this whole thing, and if honestly, I think this possible match with Cena's out the door. At best, right now, Sullivan is Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Which is fine with me. Because another guy who they've been kind of pushing in these vignettes and the whole NXT call-ups and everything is the only other guy whose vignette has kind of been sticking out. Because obviously they have the whole heavy machinery thing where they're like, we're stakes and weights, and they're obviously your favorite tag team in all WWE.
I love Otis Dosovich.
Otis Dosovich is God. Forget about
like,
GOAT. He's surpassed the GOAT conversation.
Tucker Knight is fine.
I
love Otis Dosovich.
Otis Dosovich is fantastic.
He is the human meatball, and I fucking love him.
they-
I love that when I tweeted to them about eating at the buffet that they were fucking psyched about it.
They were both on board with it.
Yes.
So they are the official tag team of the F and Marks podcast.
What's up, Devin? Thanks for tuning in, man. In case you guys didn't know, we are the F and Marks, and we are new to Daily Wrestling Entertainment. It's a fucking awesome partnership that we started this week.
And I'm excited about the future of what this is going to bring for
and
both
we
their page and our
love
podcast.
comments. We love interacting with people. So definitely comment. We will do our best to respond to everything.
Yes,
I'm trying to write notes
we
about.
love the comments. We love interacting with fans, and most importantly, we love beer.
Yeah, 40s or 40s a Colt 45 or
Is it the
they're
40
done for now.
Is the 40 don't get you?
The 5 will, damn
God
it.
damn, I can't believe we went over an hour into the podcast without even one of us bringing that up. And it's typically me that fucking anyway.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Whatever.
But yes, we're both huge fans of the heavy machinery. I fucking love Otis Dosovich too. I fucking love that guy. And they are we support heavy machinery.
I hope they do great things on the main roster. I don't necessarily per se see great things on the main roster, but you know what? I almost see like they're gonna end up something like the Fashion Files, where they're gonna be fun, but they're not gonna win a lot. I hope to hell that I am wrong. I want them to win the tag team titles. I want them to be fucking awesome on the main roster. But you know what? Let's see what the frick happens.
Yes, and it's interesting because, like I said, with this whole thing, like they've really been, pushing this Lars Sullivan thing with the vignettes, and like the last couple of weeks, they've been doing the whole thing where all of the main roster call-ups from NXT are kind of been put into this whole vignettes thing, and it's kind of like they showed Lacey Evans, and she's like, the women's rights and all this stuff, and she's kind of part of her thing, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever with Lacey Evans. I do like Lacey Evans. I don't have high expectations for her.
With Lacey Evans, I like the character. Her in-ring work, I think, needs.
Oh, it needs work.
It does.
Yes!
But you know what? There have been a couple other people who had good characters that weren't necessarily the best technicians, a.k.a. Alexa Bliss, who ended up being the top female draw, basically, until Ronda Rousey came.
I still want to lick her pee hole.
Right. Of course you do.
I'm just glad I wasn't there when I said that.
Oh, so Eric is from Wisconsin. Thanks for tuning in, man. We're just outside of Virginia Beach in Virginia.
We're in Hampton Roads.
Yes.
Locally known as. We're like 10 minutes away from Norfolk, the Norfolk Scope, actually, where one of the greatest moments in the Monday Night Wars history took place, like basically 10, 15 minutes away at the Norfolk Scope when D-Generation X invaded Monday Nitro at the Scope.
Yeah,
and we bring it up almost every time we try to find the Scope, too.
Oh, yeah. I'm like going, this is where DX was like knocking on the door.
You know what the funny part about that was? My friend Corey, who's been a guest on the show a couple of times, actually wanted to get tickets because it was around his birthday. It was on his birthday, and he actually asked his dad to get him tickets for Nitro that night. And his dad's like, "Oh man, I don't want to go to Nitro and everything."
Oh, I can hear him saying that too.
I don't want to go to that, man. And I'm like, dude, that's almost as bad as the fact that I basically ruined myself from watching The Undertaker's debut on the main roster at the 1990 Survivor Series up in Hartford, Connecticut.
Which had the gobbledygooker.
And they used to have a hockey team there once upon a time ago. Like
The
20
greatest
years ago.
hockey team of all time.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
Greatest hockey team of all time. Thank you very much.
Know, they know, and I know that I
Greatest
am a fan
hockey team.
of the greatest hockey team of all time. You are a fan of the greatest hockey team's colors in fight songs. Brass Bonanza.
You absolutely brainless one yourself on that. That was great.
Durr, that's what I do. It's not just a gimmick; it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
What did El Jefe say?
He was saying Nikki Cross kind of is the wild card in this whole thing. So we actually do have a couple of questions in here. Miss Elizabeth, Hall of Famer?
Yes.
I say Miss Elizabeth is a Hall of Famer. Miss Elizabeth, unfortunately, her family blames the wrestling industry on the fact that she died.
Yeah.
And it's similar to the Owen Hart situation, where I don't think they will allow the WWE to put her in the Hall of Fame. But if you're talking like legit what she did for the wrestling business, yes, she belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I forget which viewer said this, said Chris Benoit to the Hall of Fame. As much as in-ring, absolutely, what he did at the end of his life.
I got this. Can I
Wait. Is this when the brainless one loses his mind?
No, I'm not going to lose my mind.
Okay.
I got this one, though. Chris Benoit's in the WWE Hall of Fame. We have a better chance of me fighting King Kong Bundy in the main event of WrestleMania than we do of seeing Chris Benoit in the WWE Hall of Fame. How does that put... Is that enough perspective for you?
Sure. No, like...
Seriously!
Benoit was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Mine, too.
And
the Triple Crossface is still
honestly,
one of my favorite wrestlers of the year.
but like, I can't watch his matches anymore.
I can't either.
I can't. I literally, when the match turns on, I'm like, going, he killed his fucking family. Anytime I see old WCW and I see Nancy Benoit, aka Woman, I'm like,
Woman.
fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And it's just so tainted everything that, like, in ring, exact what he did just in the ring, absolutely a Hall of Famer, but because he was a he did what he did at the end of his life, never ever. Yeah.
We got a better chance of seeing the Jets win the Super Bowl.
You make yourself laugh too much.
I do, but you know what?
What the hell's wrong with you?
If I can't laugh at my own jokes, then who will?
So
we have a better chance of Tito not bringing in 25 bombs
right
than we do of seeing Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. We also. Do you think Tommy Dreamer is overrated?
Yes.
I think Tommy Dreamer is. I think a lot of people, specifically wrestling industry wise, love him because not only was like he a decent wrestler who could take a fucking beating.
Oh, he could definitely take a beating.
But he was also great behind the scenes and like a good booker, good producer, and I loved when the dude would have his matches and in the middle of it go to the fucking hot dog vendor and eat a hot dog in the middle of the match and then beat the crap out of the person with the hot dog. That stuff was great, but I think overall as a talent, I didn't think he was that great.
The Indians traded for a Yankees bum today, so that could be just about anybody that's not Aaron Judge.
So yeah, I agree. Tommy Dreamer, overrated. I think if you were talking about the whole of him as being a performer, if you're talking producer Tommy Dreamer, if you're talking booker Tommy Dreamer, if you're talking
Eater
all of
Tommy
that
Dreamer.
stuff, like overall he has a great wrestling mind. I'll say that.
Oh, I'm not going to take that away from him.
I'm just saying great wrestling mind,
Yes,
overrated as an in-ring performer.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The fact that he's the heart and soul of ECW was the moniker they gave him. No, the heart and soul of ECW was Mikey Whipwreck. But that's because of the fact that I may or may not actually blow Mikey Whipwreck if I ever saw it.
So I think Ben here is saying that Tommy Dreamer gets the Vinny Testaverde Award for Vinny Testaverde being the #1 pick in the draft, who never really was the best of the best, but he was at times. I think he was a Pro Bowler.
Like I said with
was
Tommy, can you at least refer to Vinny Testaverde by his proper name? Vinny Testicles. That's who he is. He's Vinny Testicles.
But I think Tommy Dreamer, the fact that he's still going in
A mediocre longevity guy. Yeah, you're right. He's absolutely Vinny Testaverde. A mediocre longevity guy.
So, hey, you know what? He's made a career out of it, and good for him. House of Hardcore is done pretty well for itself.
I think it was Tommy who brought up Nikki Cross as the wild card in all of this.
Jeff Snyder did.
It was Jeff Snyder. I apologize.
Jeff Snyder, derper derp.
Jeff Schneider is a derp. He's a stapler. He's a carrot. I 100% agree with you, Jeff. Of all of the people who are going to get brought up to the main roster of the Big Six that are coming up, and I use that term loosely of the Big Six, of those 6, I really don't care what show any of them end up on except for Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross is the heart and soul of Sanity. Sanity has not been the same on the main roster since she was left down in NXT.
And when they brought her up for that one night with Sanity,
they fucking lost their minds. As long as Nikki Cross ends up on SmackDown Live, I don't care where the other ones end up on, as long as they keep Heavy Machinery together, obviously.
Well, they're keeping Heavy Machinery together. They've promoted them as a thing.
Obviously, they're going to keep them together. But that's my only other gripe that I would have, other than Nikki Cross needs to be part of Sanity. She needs to be part of Sanity. She is the heart and soul of Sanity. She is the heart and soul. Eric Young is the backbone. She's the heart and soul of Sanity. But of all those people who have been getting those vignettes, the only other person whose vignette has actually been kind of sticking out compared to everybody else is kind of like they're doing this whole Lars Sullivan thing. Sure. And it's like this little thing on Lacey Evans is her, just like her a bunch of her clips from the NXT. Nikki Cross.
Who stands out?
NXT.
Just say it.
Eric Young. I'll be all right. EC3. Because it's not just him with his highlights from his matches in NXT and doing stuff in the weight room and that stuff. It's him showing up in the house and taking off his suit and tie and everything. And it's like him wearing his attire.
And EC3 him with his poolside with.
Let's not talk about that.
Come on.
Talk about that,
the poolside with Velveteen Dream. Come on, it was your favorite.
Obviously, Lars Sullivan.
Favorite NXT segment.
Lars Sullivan was supposed to fight John Cena at WrestleMania, and this whole thing with him going crazy and having an anxiety attack and going home and everything. I actually was hearing it was supposed to be EC3 and John Cena at WrestleMania, which I would love to see that more than Sullivan versus Cena. Because I actually think EC3 could have a really good match against John Cena at WrestleMania, considering that John Cena is in the match.
All right, Jeffrey chiming in. Do we see Brian Cage in WWE?
I would love to see Brian Cage in WWE. I really would. He really stuck out for me as a guy who looked the part when he was in Lucha Underground, and now that he is in Impact Wrestling and has really made a name for himself. And Brian Cage actually was in WWE before he ended up in Lucha Underground, and he got released from his contract, kind of like Kenny Omega. I would love to see Brian Cage come back. I would love to see Brian Cage more than I'd like to see Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very interesting name, and I was actually going to bring them up as a name that could have been, when they asked us about somebody from outside of WWE going to WWE. Obviously, I want to move
Right.
And Okada. But.
I think we'll see Cage in WWE eventually. We got an interesting question of, will we see Scott Steiner in the WWE Hall of Fame?
No.
And I'm going to say that Scott Steiner will tell you.
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you as sacrifice.
Scott Steiner has said that he will not ever accept a WWE Hall of Fame induction until they actually have a physical place. And as much as probably like 5 years ago, it seemed like high probability that they were going to have a physical site in Orlando, Florida. Nothing has happened. It seems like every year they decide that, I guess their version of the Hall of Fame and having a traveling show is during WrestleMania weekend, where they have fan access and they have a whole bunch of like memorabilia from WrestleMania and other very big wrestling moments at fan access. So it almost seems like they think fan access is like their Hall of Fame. They should have a Hall of Fame building. I think they would make a crap ton of money off of it.
Yeah, they could.
And I think it's just stupid that they don't have one. And
there's only really 2 locations that they could have the Hall of Fame. Like you said, Orlando or in Connecticut. In Stamford, Connecticut.
They're never going to have it in Connecticut because Dan Malloy made it so. And now
How is Dan
Ned
Malloy
Lamont has made it so.
I'm glad that those guys are still running Connecticut, because as long as there's a fucking Democrat in office as governor, I'm going to stay down here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And I'll tell you right now, I will move back to Connecticut once the food down here stops tasting so good.
Right.
Nope, the food still tastes good.
Yeah.
I want to go to Duck Donuts again.
Yes.
Random comment of the day goes to the brainless one.
Yeah.
That is
Brutus the Barber Beefcake getting in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He is way above the Coco Beware line, which honestly should not be the Hall.
How about you explain to our new followers and our new viewers what the Coco Beware line is?
Coco Beware, to me, as far as wrestling talent, is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to WWE Hall of Famers. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Literally, somebody pitched the idea like, oh, we're going to have Coco Beware in whatever fucking year it was of WWE 2K whatever. And Vince McMahon's like, oh, we could use this to promote the game. The fucking dude never did like jack shit outside of main eventing a show in Bristol, Connecticut against the one-man gang. He was in a WrestleMania, but guess what? There are other people like, let's say, King Kong Bundy, who actually main evented a WrestleMania, was in a couple of other high-profile matches in WrestleMania, was a bigger draw in wrestling, who did something, who's not in the Hall of Fame. You got tag teams like Demolition. You've got Vader. You've got a whole shitload of people that are way more absolutely need to be in the Hall of Fame, but they're not. And that's why I have boycotted myself from ever watching the damn Hall of Fame induction thing ever again in my life. Too many people have died that should be in the Hall of Fame, and then they got inducted after they died. The fucking Macho Man would have had one of the most epic fucking speeches in wrestling history at that Hall of Fame, and he didn't get to fucking have it. And shit like that drives me fucking nuts. But Coco Beware is the fucking bottom of the barrel when it comes to Hall of Fame, and Brutus Beefcake is way over that damn line.
And I
fucking love Brutus Beefcake.
And I know you and I differentiate on that.
Yeah.
Nikolai Volkov is well above the Coco Beware line. As a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Nikolai Volkov pulled off the biggest upset in WrestleMania history.
No, he didn't. Fandango did. Yeah.
Fandango beating Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 29 didn't happen, just like Trent Dilfer was not the starting quarterback for the Ravens when they beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. Just like Rocky V never happened. It never happened.
Right.
Just like Tim Brown playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It never happened.
And Jerry Rice on the Seattle Seahawks.
It never happened. Patrick Ewing on the Orlando Magic, even though I'm a Magic fan. It never happened.
All right, Jeffrey thinks Brooklyn Brawler, Hall of Famer. I think Brooklyn Brawler, based off of longevity, is above the Coco Beware line. I think he is probably hovering around the Nikolai Volkov line. He didn't win a title, but he was there for a long time.
Ooh.
He was a jobber, and he did his job well. I remember when he was reintroduced, because he used to be just Steve Lombardi. He was reintroduced as the Brooklyn Brawler to have a feud against another fucking great gimmick from the 80s/early 90s, the Red Rooster. Because Brooklyn Brawler was a part of the fucking Heenan family, and when Red Rooster broke apart from the Heenan family, the Brooklyn Brawler beat the hell out of him. I remember it. I remember it clearly.
Terry Taylor, who should be in the Hall of Fame.
Terry Taylor was a hell of a talent in the ring, but that gimmick killed him. When he went back to WCW as Terry Taylor, and then was Terrence Taylor, and part of the York Corporation, which Terry Runnels, you looked super hot as Alexandra York with those glasses on.
I want to say that JYD is in the Hall of Fame.
JYD is in the Hall of Fame.
Thump. You can't not have the Junkyard Dog in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we got the Junkyard Dog right there, and she's just kind of sleeping right now.
5-star Dog Splash.
Who is
Moment of the year.
Who actually won a Marquee Award this year. The dog. The dog won a fucking Marquee Award.
You know, we'll have to post it. We'll post it.
The video. I wish there was a video of her actually dog splashing the cat.
Well, I mean, we have the jump. We have the leap.
I never laughed so hard in my life. I never laughed so hard in my life.
Well, we'll post it. So for all the new viewers, my dog did a 5-star dog splash onto my cat during our WrestleMania weekend.
And there's
podcast.
never been an animal that deserved to get dog splashed more than the cat. If you have ever met this man's cat, you would understand. I have never in my life despised an animal more than I despise this man's cat. That cat, as an asshole, makes fucking Scott Steiner look like a fucking Boy Scout.
All right, Jeff has asked. William Regal.
Oh, yes.
Steven Regal.
Yes, absolutely.
He is not in the Hall of Fame. He absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He was never a
very underrated in-ring performer, by the way. And he could fucking wrestle a fucking bot.
And, he had... I mean, I brought it up so many damn times. One of my favorite matches ever in Nitro history was Regal against Fit Finlay, and they had this fucking parking lot brawl where they had the taped up fists. They were in street clothes, and they were fighting, and they were giving each other back body drops on cars and beating the shit out of each other. You could tell they were stiff as fucking hell,
watch
man.
That match after the show.
I fucking love that match. But Regal deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of those guys. He's not going to be a top bill, but he will get in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, fucking love Regal.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Huge fan of William Regal.
Bigelow's in the Hall of Fame, right?
No.
Oh, it was the Boss Man they put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bam Bam. Honestly, this year with it being in Jersey, Bam Bam should get in the Hall of Fame this year. It should be inducted by Lawrence Taylor, the rapist.
It's one of two people from New Jersey who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame that are going to get in this year, whether it's Bam Bam Bigelow or King Kong Bundy. But what they'll do, this is how WWE works. It should be Bam Bam Bigelow. It should be King Kong Bundy. And for their celebrity, it should be Lawrence Taylor. And you know who they're going to end up putting in? The fucking Snooki. In the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame. They're going to put the fucking Snooki in. The Snooki being in is almost as bad as Jeff Schneider's fucking dad, Drew Carey, being in the fucking Hall of Fame. He's the only person who belongs in it less than fucking Coco Beware. They don't even need to make it the fucking Coco Beware line because Drew Carey's below the Coco Beware line. It should be the Drew Carey line. I should be in the WWE Hall of Fame more than fucking Drew Carey because I've actually been to more WrestleManias than fucking Drew Carey. How about them apples? Granted, it was fucking WrestleMania in your house, which was also known as WrestleMania 11. The only WrestleMania where the WWE Championship was on the back burner to a fucking celebrity versus a wrestler, where where Bam Bam Bigelow, who should be in the Hall of Fame, actually main evented a WrestleMania.
More than
When
CM Punk.
when Kevin Nash comes out and says, "Oh, Kevin Owens shouldn't be the fucking main event guy," and he's like, "Dude, the year that you were heavyweight champion, you weren't even in the main event of fucking WrestleMania, so fuck yourself." Fucking Kevin Nash, you fucking piece of shit.
All right.
I like Kevin Nash as an actor, but not as a wrestler.
So Jeffrey has one last question, Hall of Fame wise. Raven. Raven, to me, absolutely Hall of Famer. He was a U.S. champion in
He was a
WCW.
fucking...
He was a fucking beast in ECW. He did all right in WWE, WWF.
Chris Jericho
Absolutely.
even said the best way to put it is this. Chris Jericho said there was like 3 wrestlers who have actually held more WWE gold than he has. And like the list is like there's 2 big names, and he goes, and Raven. And it's because
He had the
Raven
hardcore
held the
title
hardcore
like
title
20
like
times.
9,000 times.
What about me? What about Raven? One of the greatest pops, though, you'll ever see in your life. Fucking Raven against Goldberg for the U.S. title. Literally, Goldberg took out the entire Ravens flock.
Yep.
But when he did the fucking jackhammer, and that crowd just like fucking awesome. Yes, Jeff said Smokey wants smush smush.
Snooky wants smush smush.
Yes.
Smush smush.
Yes.
It's one of the greatest episodes of South Park too, the Jersey Shore episode.
Rumham.
Yeah, we got to do that. I think we're just gonna get a whole bunch of people and get a fucking rum ham for the fucking show.
Right.
Yeah. So
like NXT call-up wise, we've got Lars Sullivan, EC3, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans. Like, I'm trying to like think of what they've done with other people they've called up, and which ones had hype, which ones didn't have hype, and which ones like you're like, where the hell did that come from? Type of thing. And I just don't know with these like obviously I think they were hoping for big things with Sullivan. Who the fuck knows now? I mean he might have just self-destructed.
for me, when it comes to the guys who were called up to the main roster, who basically met the expectations that WWE had for them, was all 3 members of the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, where all 3 men became Grand Slam champions in like 5 years from when they were called up as members of the Shield. And they're all fantastic stars.
You know what would have been great if they would have brought up Cassius Ohno with them, and they would have been the Buffet Brigade.
I know that I've been very vocal about my opinions about Roman Reigns. Obviously, my opinion about Roman Reigns isn't about him as an individual. It's just the way that they've booked him. You can't take away the fact that all 3 members have actually been Triple Crown champions. And riddle me this, Batman. Which one of the 3 members of the Shield was the first one to be a Grand Slam champion?
I think it was Ambrose.
You're goddamn right it was Dean Ambrose. Because you know why? Because Dean Ambrose is the fucking GOAT!
And his wife doesn't know anything that goes on in his life,
Well,
apparently.
that fucking story.
Honestly, for me, that's the most retarded thing about what happened with Monday Night Raw. Why don't you know what the fuck is going on with your husband? Ever. You have the worst marriage ever, apparently. Right?
To be fair.
He to be fair you. To be fair.
Don't use my fucking words. I get everything over. Just remember that.
Wrong.
Yeah,
Wrong.
I got over GOAT, did I not?
That's not everything.
I got over the Dan Le Batard. Yes. And I got To Be Fair over. So that's 3 fucking things.
That's not everything.
But you know what? That makes me a fucking F.M. Marks Hall of Famer in my book.
I'm not going to vote you in.
I'm voting myself in. That's all I need. I just need 1 vote to get in. And
One man, 1 vote. Yes.
Just ask fucking Hillary Clinton what it's like to not get a vote that she needed.
Right.
But yeah. like we were talking about with the whole. Obviously, I agree with you with this whole Dean Ambrose, Renee Young storyline with her. Not knowing what's
Fucking
going on.
stupid.
Obviously, she's getting plowed by the lunatic fringe or the former lunatic fringe, the Intercontinental Champion, and everything.
The germaphobe.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because I don't want to get fucking pissed off right now.
Come on.
Obviously,
Come on.
those are three guys that really, met the expectations of what WWE had.
Well, think about Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss has exceeded.
Wait. Another person that exceeded expectations.
You
Nobody
beat me
thought
to it,
anything
God
of.
damn it! Hello, I am Elias.
And I want to know.
Who wants to walk with Elias? My God, he's reached for the fucking stars. As a guy who basically just used to drift around Monday Night Raw, and then he is the exception of the guys who nobody expected much from.
Eric, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you tune in. We're going to try to do it like every Friday on Daily Wrestling Entertainment. Sometimes it'll be Saturday, sometimes it'll be Sunday, but make sure you tune in.
Every weekend.
Yeah, and you could follow us at Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, Instagram, and on the YouTubes at the FNMARKS, the FN Marks. So, yeah, man.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
We appreciate you.
So,
We're not going away yet. Don't worry. We have a little bit more to go. We have a couple more topics.
Ben, I definitely, I wouldn't mind if Elias won the Royal Rumble. I don't know if he will, but
he could be a dark horse to win it.
yeah. I know that Mick Foley has come out and said, like, dude, I was in the ring with a future WWE champion when he was in the ring with Elias. Because he heard the crowd, he, like, got the reaction.
When him and Kevin Owens were in Seattle and they fucking booed the shit out of him for a solid 10 minutes after he made his Seattle Sonics.
Oh, that was fucking awesome.
You need...
And that's why I prefer him as a heel. Like, he's done fine as a face. I prefer him as a heel.
I prefer him as a heel too, but you know what? He's actually done pretty well. He's fared very well as a face.
Thanks, Jeffrey. We appreciate that. He said he loves the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I really
man.
do appreciate that. And another part of the show that we like to do, we've been doing for a few months now that I actually kind of pitched and we like to present to you for this week is a little segment we call The Good, The Bad, and The Brainless. Obviously, I'm the brains behind that, even though I don't have a brain.
Yes.
So basically what we like to do is we like to bring up a thing that we thought was really good about WWE or any wrestling for that matter. And then we like to talk about something that was really bad, but it could have been worse. And that's what we call the brainless.
Yes.
The worst of what the bad is.
Yes.
So,
yes.
What was your good for this week, Cousin Jay?
I'm going, honestly, this week was one of those weeks. It's amazing what happens when you cut Monday Night Raw out of your wrestling diet.
Doesn't it feel good?
Usually with Monday Night Raw, there is so much shit, there's so much fodder for the bad and the brainless that honestly, right now, I'm going to go with Chris Jericho signing with AEW. The fact that they got a top tier wrestling talent to sign with their organization. They got the fucking GOAT.
They got the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time? Did they get the first ever undisputed champion in WWE history?
Who beat the fucking Rock
and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night?
Damn night. Yes.
The man who came up with the idea for the Money in the Bank ladder match?
The man who came up with the list.
He got over 2 lists? Yeah, he was pretty decent.
Yeah, not too terribly bad, man.
Not too terribly bad. In the light bright jacket.
That is my good for this week.
I like your good. I really do.
So
You just made the list! Oh no! Oh, here we
That's
go.
my goal in life is I'd like to make the list of Jericho.
he said nobody else is going to make the list.
I will try my damnedest. I'm the brand.
On the Cruise of Jericho.
I will try to. I will throw him over the ledge.
2.
I will throw him over the ledge.
Yeah, he'll beat the fuck out of you.
I like your good. I really do. Your good is a very good Good.
It's a very good.
Yes, it is. For me, there was one moment that actually happened this week in WWE that actually tops Chris Jericho being the big name signing for AEW. And that is WWE's homage that they've paid to
The GOAT.
legendary Mean Gene Okerlund. That video package was fantastic. You really need to do something in your life to stick out where people will actually remember you. Mean Gene Okerlund was one of those guys for me growing up as a kid that I fucking loved. The fact that he was just Mean Gene Okerlund, just did what he did. He was the greatest interviewer of all time, and there will never be another Mean Gene Okerlund. And that video package with him interviewing everybody from Hulk Hogan to Randy Savage to Andre the Giant. You will never come across a talent like Mean Gene Okerlund. And they paid tribute to him this week the best way that they could, and that really tugged at my heart. Mean Gene is one of those guys in professional wrestling, top 5 for me, that I'm going to miss dearly, because Mean Gene meant a lot to me as a wrestling fan for what I was as a child growing up as a wrestling fan to now. So Mean Gene Okerlund, their video tribute to Mean Gene meant so much to me as a wrestling fan that they actually did that right, considering it's WWE. So that's why that was my good for this week.
Yeah. So we had a couple other people chime in about their good. Tommy said that AEW presser was his good for the week.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And talking about how the man won that awesome triple threat match on SmackDown was a good for this week.
Carmelo's performance in that triple threat match was
I mean, all 3 of them were great,
they were
but
all
like
great.
Carmella,
Carmella
you
really
see
stood
her,
out
Yeah.
for me. If it wasn't for the Mean Gene Okerlund thing, Carmella's performance in that triple threat match would have been my good for this week, because she really stuck out of the 3, because you know what you're expecting from Charlotte. Obviously, Becky Lynch has become the star of SmackDown, of the women's division, and one of the...
I think the star of SmackDown, honestly.
Oh, she's the man.
It's not like
and
she's not
Carmella,
a woman
and
superstar. She is a fucking star.
I even said it to you. I said, you know what? Carmella's performance has really stood out amongst everything else, because obviously we expect what we expect from Charlotte and what we expect from Becky Lynch, but Carmella really held her own, and it's not just a 3-headed women's race in the SmackDown division between the 2 of them and Asuka. Carmella really proved to everybody that she's not just a fluke champion, and
she's not just a pretty face.
And she's not just a pretty face. She has proven that if she
kicked
gets an
ass.
opportunity, she proved that she deserves another opportunity as women's champion, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, in the foreseeable future.
And Ben was saying his good for this week, and it was pretty freaking awesome and epic. Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio, the Canadian Destroyer.
Yes.
The Canadian Destroyer, that whole,
there was a lot of good this week in wrestling.
well, again, we haven't watched Raw, so, yeah.
Oh, it's 3 hours of bad, so.
But basically, well, it wasn't 3 hours of bad. It was your good for the week.
Yeah, you're right, with the Mean Gene Okerlund thing, yes.
But basically, that Canadian fucking Destroyer, and everything that surrounded that the whole storyline of the match, really good, helping to build up Cien Almas, and you already, I mean, we love Zelina Vega. Not quite as much as Aleister Black loves Zelina Vega, but we love, no.
I love
he
Zelina
loves her
Vega.
to a different level.
I want to go.
And she loves Black.
Too.
She loves Black.
And once you go black, you never go back.
So, yeah. But that was...
Once you go brainless, you're not going to want it less.
You're terrible. You suck.
Durr! Where have you been? I've been terrible for 114 episodes. You're just coming to this conclusion now?
All right. So...
What's your bad?
My bad this week is Shane McMahon coming out during SmackDown and officially announcing that Paige will no longer be the GM of SmackDown. Paige, like, a lot of times authority figures kind of suck. A lot. Unless your name is Teddy Long Playa and you make tag team matches and you put the Undertaker in matches against people. But Paige, you know, for the hand she was dealt and all the stuff that had been going on in her life, did awesome as a GM. I'm sad that she is no longer going to be GM on SmackDown. They said they're going to find another position for her. I don't know what the hell that's going to be, but she should be on camera.
Agreed.
And she should be like a weekly participant in the show.
100% agree. I 100% agree with that. Let's see. My bad for this week is the whole Lars Sullivan thing.
All right.
I'm so sorry. You have a chance to basically catapult your career where they're going to shoot you to the moon and then you have your anxiety issues. You know, when this whole new venture for us came about earlier this week, I admit it. Anxiety got a little,
Yeah.
a little for me. And I was like, you know what? This is a whole new opportunity for me. We're going to have a whole new fan base. A bunch of new people that are going to come in and watch our show and everything like that. And I'm very excited. After that whole anxiousness of the whole situation, I got really excited. Once Wednesday rolled by and we made that announcement through all of our social media outlets, I just a whole different perspective on this whole thing, and I got really excited for it. Like, I couldn't even wait. Like, yesterday I was like, I really wish today was Friday, even though it's only Thursday, because I really want to get out there and I want to talk to our new followers and everything. And I got really excited for it.
Oh, man. It's got a couple of funny bads. Well, I mean, Tommy just said commentary. Thanks, Michael Cole. Michael Cole, baby!
You're the only person that ever does that.
No, I saw a meme online where somebody replaced Adam Cole's face with that. Yeah. Yes, SmackDown is going on Fox later on this year. Hopefully it will continue to be the A show instead of Monday Night Raw. But we had actually everybody else who's chimed in who said that they're bad this week involves Braun Strowman.
That promo he cut on Monday.
It's not all specifically that promo, but like couple
The
of
fact
people
that
said
he's
the
in the
promo was
Universal-
bad. He forgot his lines and that he just kind of, he died a death on live TV. Honestly, I don't think this spells the end for Braun
No,
because the thing with this, Roman Reigns was not a good promo. After he had his feud with John Cena, he went from getting being a shit promo to being at least a good solid promo most weeks. Braun had definitely an off week. I hope it was just an off week and not that he's a shitty promo. Because for the most part, when he's cut promos, I've had no problem with what he's done. But sometimes you give them too long of stuff, and creative gives you a bunch of bullshit you gotta spit out. So I'm hoping, and I'm chalking this up to a bad week, but we'll see, man. We'll see. And the other thing was somebody was saying that a lot of people are too sensitive about the fact that Braun Strowman posted a picture about a hunting kill that he and or a family member had this week. And people are getting all butthurt about it. It's like going, hey, we have the right to bear arms in the United States. You have the right to go hunting. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I'd like to chime in on how my opinion of that is. Today we had a customer show up at my shop. And you know what he brought in? Venison jerky.
Nice.
The first time I've had venison before, but this was the first time I've actually had venison jerky.
Yep.
I ate a shit ton of it because he brought it in and he's like, here, this is you. And he had like 4 like sandwich baggies full of it, and he gave 2 to us in our shop, and then they gave 2 to our Geico rep, and I had like at least 5 or 6 pieces of it, and it was fantastic. And I really wish I had brought some home because I would be eating it right now. Instead, I'll probably just end up spending like $19 at Taco Bell after the show.
Right. All right, so Ben chimed in also another bad. He thought the AEW rally was poorly done, and it was because Conrad, the guy hosting, was more like a holiday rep, asking fans if they're excited. So basically, he was using fucking cheap pops to get the crowd going. And
Look,
you know what? There was a lot of great news that came out of this.
Sure.
There are a lot of good things that came out of this. I'm willing to overlook this, and also with the fact that we've seen a lot of independent wrestling shows where they don't even know their ass from their elbow, and they don't know whether it's a one fall match or if it's an elimination match.
Or if you hit the chair or not.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Look, there's only one human being on this planet that is allowed to get the cheap pop, and his name is Mick Foley. And I will never dog Mick Foley for getting that cheap pop because it works, and it works for him. So that's it.
He's a goat.
What's your brainless?
My brainless this week is the WWE New Era. You know, they came out a few weeks ago talking about, we're going to do what the fans want, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other thing. And guess what? Outside of the fact that the quote-unquote new authority figures, which are the super old authority figures, guess what's happened with the show? Nothing. Nothing has changed. With SmackDown, there's nothing wrong with SmackDown. They've done fine. Like Daniel Bryan, his segment where he went and was trolling on the crowd, like back in the concourse area, and then when he did his interview where he lost his mind, where it looked like his eyeballs were going to pop out of his head, that was freaking great. Monday Night Raw has not changed a bit except for the fact that you don't have Baron Corbin coming out every 5 minutes, and like you don't have Kurt Angle, and you don't have like Stephanie McMahon alone. Like it's gone back to the old style authority or the Battle of the McMahons. So like the fact that they've announced this new era and literally nothing has really changed. Don't tell me, I mean, part of my job is branding. Don't try to rebrand something and say, hey, we're going to shine up this turd really nice for you and tell me it's something different. Don't pee on me and say it's fucking rain. Because that's what they're fucking doing. They're peeing on us and saying it's rain. No, Raw is still fucking shit. Thank God we have NXT UK now, where we have at least a watchable show. That something interesting is happening. Something new is happening where it's not. It doesn't feel tired, stale, and like an insult.
What's the saying I like to say to add on to what you said? You take a shit, you cover it in glitter, you put a bow around it. It looks nice, but guess what? At the end of the day, what is it?
It's shit.
It's still shit. And I do like your brainless for this week, and I really do like your brainless for this week because you're 100% dead on balls with that. And I wanted, and believe me, I wanted to make my brainless because when I started watching SmackDown, I realized that Chris Jericho was taken out of the promo as from the Then, Now, Forever, which is just petty WWE doing its petty things. And I really wanted to make that my fucking brainless for this week. And then I started watching SmackDown a little bit later. And they had a tag team match between The Bar and the Usos.
Fucking
And The Bar went over on the Usos because that's what tag teams do, and that's what goats like Sheamus does. They win big matches when they need to win those matches.
Thank God we did not have.
But the aftermath of that is what really stuck out for me for my brainless. This whole storyline between The Miz and Shane McMahon has been fucking stupid ever since the whole Crown Jewel. Shane McMahon winning the Crown Jewel and being titled the best in the world was the dumbest fucking thing the WWE did last year. Now, the self-proclaimed 2/3 best in the world, The Miz, wants to be in a tag team with the guy who won the fucking tournament, who shouldn't have won the fucking World Cup tournament at the end of the day, but we're not going to go into that. Became a tag team that really doesn't want to be a tag team, and The Miz challenged The Bar for the tag team championships at the Royal Rumble, so it's now official where it's The Bar defending the titles against The Miz and Shane McMahon at the Royal Rumble. Why it's my brainless? For two reasons. Number one, you took the man that I wanted to see win the Royal Rumble and put him in a meaningless tag team match at the Royal Rumble instead of him being the guy who should win, or one of the guys who should potentially win the Royal Rumble. So that really upsets me, The Miz. And number two, I know what's going to happen. It's going to lead
Something's
to
happening.
It's going to lead to one of two things. Number one, Shane McMahon and the Miz are going to win the tag team
WrestleMania.
titles, or it's going to build up for the Miz versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. And if I get either one of them, I'm going to be fucking pissed off
Right.
because the Miz should win the Royal Rumble and fight Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania, or in co-main event of WrestleMania 35.
AKA the first match.
Yes,
Right.
but that's why it's my brainless.
All right. We had somebody chime in with who they think potential GM should be for SmackDown and Raw. One was Eric Bischoff coming back as the general manager of Raw.
Nope, not going to happen.
And this, I think, very interesting. I don't think it'll happen. Dario Cueto from Lucha Underground as the SmackDown general manager. I would love to see Dario Cueto. I wouldn't mind Bischoff.
I wouldn't mind Bischoff either, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think either of them will happen. I think they're going to stick with this, like,
The Authority runs both shows.
yeah, the quadruple.
I think
quadruple
it's more
whatever.
likely that we see Edge as the general manager of SmackDown Live than we do of Dario Cueto running either show. And I would love, believe me when I tell you, I would love to see Edge run SmackDown Live.
Right.
And I think it's more likely than not that we will get Kurt Angle running Monday Night Raw again.
We shall see.
Yeah.
I think they'll keep with this storyline for a little bit.
Yes, I agree.
It'll
Until
probably go
at
through
least
WrestleMania. Yeah.
And then after WrestleMania, they might be like, oh.
Hopefully they finally break that stuff up because, again, it's Monday. As good old Seth Rollins said, Monday Night Raw has sucked. So, all right.
So tomorrow, we have a first ever in WWE history.
Yeah.
We have a NXT UK takeover in Blackpool, England. And before we get into that, I did want to bring up another thing about the NXT UK.
Ben just said Tampon Girl needs to team up with Joey Ryan, and they need to be the team called Dick Vag. They could be great. They could be great in the Bad Man segment. In an order that might surprise you.
Joey Ryan, I think, is going to be one of those guys that we end up seeing in AEW for some weird reason.
He will never end up in WWE because
No.
his character does not.
No.
Will
I
not
know,
fit
I know,
that.
I know. We have a better chance of me being in WWE than we do of Joey Ryan. I just love the fact that I just get to use me because there's like zero chance of me doing any of that stuff that I say.
Right.
I do.
So tomorrow, at 2 p.m, we're gonna have NXT 2.
3.
Why don't you go
The
double
show
check?
starts at 2.
They
The actual main
literally
show
had
starts at-
all over the WWE Network 2:00.
That's
Maybe it is
interesting
the
because
pre-show,
I
but
think
like
the
they
pre-show is at
literally
2
said,
o'clock.
they literally said on the shows this week for NXT, 2 in the afternoon.
I remember hearing it was like the actual main show starts at 3 o'clock.
It may, but
that's
they're
interesting
promoting
because
it.
I'm like, we have
They're
kickball.
promoting it.
We have kickball at 2 in the afternoon, and if we actually just get done and just go home and watch the fucking NXT UK takeover, we would be able to we'd probably show up a few minutes late. But
All right, so Ben
That's the only reason I
is
brought that up.
absolutely freaking hyped that Pete Dunne and Joe. He thinks Pete Dunne, Joe Coffey is going to be unreal.
I agree 100%.
One thing I'm going to say about this, like, I think Coffey, like, imposing figure and really like presents himself as such. Now, like when they do NXT UK, they do 2 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
The first one that aired this week, I was not a big fan of his promo. It almost ended up my bad this week. It was like meandering and like where it kind of went between like he was trying to promote the fact that it was going to be British strong style against, you know, what the heck's I can't believe I can't remember the name of their faction.
It's something stupid. It's like a fucking 6-letter word.
But Gallus.
Gallus, that's it.
So
Hey, my nephew's name rhymes with Gallus, man. My nephew's son, Gallus, Dallas, man.
So anyway, his promo was he was trying to cut down Pete Dunne, but it was also supposed to promote the thing that they had where the 6-man match, which aired like right after,
Right.
and like it wasn't the greatest promo ever,
Nope.
but I think there's a lot of potential with Coffey, and there's a lot of potential with Gallus to be a great faction. Like to me, the whole British strong style is kind of a faction of convenience. I don't think that like it's a unit where Gallus is a unit, in my view.
Gallus is just kind of like put together to just where it's the Coffey brothers and Wolfgang. Obviously, this is really good for Wolfgang because he really was kind of like floundering around until he was part of this Gallus thing, and I think it's good for him. Obviously, Paul Coffey is more.
Mark Coffey.
Isn't there a Paul Coffey?
Yes, he used to play for the Red Wings.
Oh yeah.
And he used to play for the Whalers. There's Joe Coffey and there's Mark Coffey. Joe Coffey is the one who is going for the title.
So Joe Coffey and then Mark Coffey is the one that's in the tag team with
Wolfgang.
Yes. Gallus rhymes with Dallas, man, and Dallas is the name
Yes,
of
you already
my
did
nephew.
Move ahead.
Hey, man, I can do what I want to do, man. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this weekend because that's what the Cowboys do. When Leighton Vander Esch would be WWE champion if he wrestled in the WWE, man. I think that Coffey has the potential to do what not a lot of people have been able to do in the 600 days, nearly 600 days that he's done as champion.
And John Coffey was in the Green Mile.
Yes, he was.
And I played with a kid in Little League Baseball named Brian Coffey.
And I can't drink regular coffee. Boom, boom.
Yes.
So yes. So we have the NXT UK takeover tomorrow afternoon for us. It would be tomorrow night for you.
For the folks over in England.
that are watching this right now on the podcast.
Well, it'll be tomorrow night for them, yeah. And
I'm excited for it. I really am.
again, it's something new. It's something fresh. It's not Monday Night Raw. It's not Brock Lesnar showing up once every 2 or 3 months to, like, as much as I understand he's an attraction and as much as I understand, like, hey, he puts butts in seats, it's like, it's kind of insulting to the fans that, like, he doesn't show up a little bit more. I don't even think he needs to show up a lot more. Just, you know, have a match on Raw.
Yeah.
Once in a while. But beside that, NXT UK, Blackpool, I'm excited. Like, they only have 5 matches, which tells me that they're going to give them time and they're going to have great entrances. So I'm looking forward to that.
And they may or may not drag out the 137-year-old Johnny Saint tomorrow.
With the mouthpiece, whatever his name is.
Who gives a shit what his name is?
Right. Not going to work
Not
anymore.
gonna care anymore.
Yeah.
So first match on the
All right.
bracket, we're
So,
gonna
and I think this is going to be the curtain jerker, and I think it's going to actually be an outstanding match. Travis Banks versus Jordan Devlin, which was actually just announced
Jordan
this
Devlin,
week.
whose brother is actually the starting fullback for the New England Patriots.
Yes, James Devlin.
Yes.
I refer to Jordan Devlin as the Angry Elf.
He's Bizarro World Finn Balor.
He, you know what? He is a great in-ring performer, but the faces he makes, I'm like, oh no, he's just an angry elf.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what's his name from Game of Thrones when he's in the movie Elf. But
Fuck,
yeah,
what's his name?
whatever.
I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, everybody knows him.
Yeah. He's the only elf in the show, really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Devlin. I like Devlin in this one.
Yeah, Devlin needs to get the win in this one. Like, he's been a dick, and he's been, I think, honestly, of the buildup of all these, matches, non-title-wise, this one, to me, is the one that's been built up the best.
I disagree.
Just because this has been going on and on and on where they've been fucking with one another. And I dig how they've done it. So you don't know what the matches are.
I think it's a great match. I just forget the names.
Yeah.
The Mastiff. That's the guy. The Mastiff Eddie Dennis match have actually done a lot better because they've been beating the shit out of each other every single week. And then Johnny Saint's like, we're going to have you guys in a no disqualification match. That match has actually been built a little bit better. Obviously, Devlin playing the role of the nefarious, playing the chicken shit heel, so to speak, and kind
That's
of
my
trolling on
preference
him.
that's my preference storyline wise.
Oh, that's fine. You can have the preference storyline, but I like the fact that the Mastiff Dennis match has been a little bit built better because of the fact that they've been beating
I'm
the shit
saying
out of each
that
other.
I prefer when somebody's being a chicken shit and doing dastardly
No,
things
no.
and acting like he's the big deal.
No.
You're saying that my opinion isn't valid right now
No,
because you think that your version of what you like is better than mine. That's what you're saying right now.
No, you're entitled to your opinion. I personally like the Mastiff Dennis build up a little bit more. I love Devlin. I really do. He's been fantastic.
The Angry Elf.
The Angry Elf, the Bizarro World, Finn Balor.
Yeah.
It was actually trained by Finn Balor. They did a good job building up this entire show for tomorrow. I've always been the guy because of the fact that I'm a huge fan of linebackers in football. Obviously, with Lawrence Taylor and Derek Thomas, I just love brute force and the people beating the shit out of each other. That's the only reason I'm going to go with Dennis and Mastiff as a better build-up. And Mastiff does
Because of their size?
No, because of the
Because
fact
of their size?
because-
Literally, you just said you like bigger people in the build-up. Your favorite guy in all of NXT UK is Pete Dunne.
And he's a guy.
He's not big.
No, you're right. I weigh more than Pete Dunne. Barely.
So you're contradicting yourself.
I like the way that they build this up because of the fact that they're basically these two guys who are like,
They're
I'm
the two
bigger guy.
monsters.
I'm the two monsters. We're beating the shit out of each other and yada, yada, yada.
I dig the build-up, but
Devlin-
for me, with Mastiff here, they're trying to make him like the big fat guy who moves really fast.
No, he's not.
He doesn't move really fast.
No,
He doesn't jump really high. He does some moves where I'm going, no. This guy should just be a big dude who beats the fuck out of people, but literally he does not do that stuff, and that's part of the reason why I am not a huge fan of the build-up, because in commentary they're trying to talk him up as if he's like Husky Harris was, where he was the fucking heavyweight with the Corvette engine.
Yeah, she was
And
the
he's
tank
not.
with the Corvette
He's
with the
not.
Ferrari engine.
He's not. To me, honestly, I think a dude like Killian Dane is more in that
Yeah, I agree
ilk,
with that.
where I think what the fuck you call it, Mastiff here is not that. He should just be. He should be like the GOAT, Otis Dosevich. Like, to me, that's the build that he has. And, like, when he jumps off the mat, he jumps, like, he's got what I would call fucking credit card ups. He gets, like, an inch off the mat, and then he does, like, a crossbody. No, it doesn't fucking impress me. And that's part of the reason why I don't think this, like, I guess personality-wise, the build-up is kind of interesting. I love no DQ matches, but this, and I hope I'm wrong, beyond belief. I was so hyped up back in the day because I like big man matches. I wanted to see El Gigante versus Sid Vicious in the stretcher match. Then I saw the match and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
And then you watch El Gigante versus Nails.
And then that became the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But like, I was so hyped up for that. And like, Dennis and Mastiff have had a couple of pretty decent matches on NXT UK. I hope they really bring it tomorrow. And I think they'll have a fun match. Build up wise though, I go back to the commentary with like, don't act like the big fat guy could run really fast and jump really high when he doesn't do either of them. He's a big fat guy.
I like to see Dan Mastiff versus Cassius Ohno at an all-you-can-eat buffet. I don't think any
machinery.
No, I don't think anybody could top Cassius Ohno at an all-you-can-eat buffet, ever.
Right.
Like I think that Cassius Ohno could actually topple Joey Chestnut in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, because Cassius Ohno could eat 137 hot dogs in like 5 minutes
Right.
with no mustard.
All right, just random question. Ben asked if we could do our jobs doing 3/4 less work and making more money, would you do it? Yes.
No,
Yes.
I'd like to do 50% of my job and get paid just as much as I get paid now, but I get paid dick.
Literally, he said 3/4 less work and making more money.
How about 50% less work and more money? I'd be game for that.
So you want to do you want to do more work?
No, I don't want to do more work. I already do more work and get paid dick.
3/4 is greater than 50%. You realize that, right?
The numbers don't lie, Cousin Jay.
Oh my God! Like literally, you only have to do 25% of the work you do right now and get paid more money. Fucking brainless one strikes again, man. Yes.
My math was wrong on that one. All
Yeah,
right.
you're way
By the
off.
way, DM Mastiff is my pick to win the fucking match between him and Dennis. And if it was Dennis Reynolds, then I would take Dennis Reynolds over anybody except for Steve Austin.
I agree. Mastiff wins this match.
The fat guy wins because I think
The fat guy
I think
wins.
he's gonna,
I think he's got a bigger upside than Dennis.
and we're not talking about his cholesterol. That was a bad joke. Yeah. Yeah, I know. So the three big matches that we're worried about are the first ever UK
Tag team champions. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't want to see Tyler Bate win.
What are your actual thoughts on who's going to win?
Who I actually think is going to win?
Yeah.
I think that it was Ed
Gallus?
Gallus is in there?
No, they're not. They're going against the young grizzled veterans Drake and Gibson.
Oh, Gibson's the guy that's been fighting. It was actually fighting Pete Dunne at the first part when they first started doing this NXT UK. And I like Gibson a lot. I think he has the look. He's really good in the ring. I am a huge fan of Gibson. He could have been the guy that could have unseated Pete Dunne in his unbelievable run as NXT UK. Women's
Just past 600
600
days.
days. In fact, a couple days ago. I think they're going to end up taking it. I really do think that Gibson and what's the other guy's name again? I'm sorry. I'm
Drake.
horrible with names. I'm horrible with names.
Drake.
Don't take it as
Drake.
anything else. I forget my name.
Drake.
sometimes. Drake and Gibson, I think, are going to end up taking this. And it's not because Mustache Mountain is not a good tag team. I love Trent Seven. I really do. And I think that Trent Seven is one of the better in-ring performers in the UK brand for WWE's NXT. I just don't see them giving Tyler Bate the NXT Tag Team Championships and being part of the first ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions when he was the first ever NXT UK Champion. That's my reasoning behind it. I just don't see them, because you always want to be the first to do something and you always want to be the last to do something. And I don't see them giving Tyler Bate both of those honors of being the first of two different championships after he was the one that won the NXT UK Championship. If Pete Dunne was the first one to do it, then yes, I could see Mustache Mountain being the ones. I think that Gibson is one of those guys that really sticks out for me in the NXT UK brand, and I'm going to go with him and Drake winning the tag team titles.
I am going to disagree as much as I understand what you're saying, and as much storyline-wise, right now, the Mustache Mountain are feuding with Gallus. Yes, they're going against Drake and Gibson in the tag team championship match here. But why would you have a team having a feud against another team, but have another team win the title? Then who does that team go against?
Unless Gallus is the reason why Mustache Mountain loses.
If you're Gallus, why would you want to feud with non-champions?
Because
Why wouldn't you let them win the match and then you beat the fuck out of them so you could get a title match? Don't you want a title match? Don't you want to win gold? Right?
yes.
So in my mind, storyline-wise, if I'm Gallus, Mustache Mountain must win this match so I can beat the hell out of them and win the title. That's my thought. As much as I understand, like, yeah, maybe Gallus gets involved and maybe they fuck over Mustache Mountain. My feeling is that I want to win the titles. I can't win the titles from a team I'm not feuding with.
True.
So that's why I am going with Mustache Mountain winning, and going forward, they will feud with Gallus.
Your point makes a lot of sense, and I agree with your point. I don't know what it is. I don't see them giving Tyler Bate the honor of being the first ever NXT UK champion and the first ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions. I don't know what it is. I don't see them.
You don't like him.
That might be the case, but I still love Trent Seven.
You dislike Tyler Bate so much
Because he's a fucking douche.
Yes, but then you let your personal opinion it messes with your objectivity so much.
That's fine.
Because you're the fucking brainless one. You're the brainless one.
Wait till we get to the NXT UK Women's Championship match.
Right.
Ready for that prediction?
Right. Well, we've already made our prediction for the tag team match. Let's go to the women.
What is the women's match? Is it Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm?
No, it's Rhea Dunn versus Toni Storm.
You know what's funny? Earlier today, both Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley posted pictures of them holding their respective championships.
Thanks for tuning in, Ben. Appreciate it.
Rhea Ripley, and it was funny because ever since you said that shit about how Rhea Ripley kind of looks like Pete Dunne's sister, I'm like, look at that. They're having a brother-sister photo op with the championships. And I'm like, you motherfucker, Jay. I even said it at work, and they're like, who are you talking about? And I'm like, don't worry about it. Here's the thing. This whole Toni Storm thing that has happened over the last week and a half or so is going to have zero influence
Yes.
on what's going to happen for tomorrow's match.
She's going to make her weird faces.
Obviously, she's gonna make her weird faces. I'd like to see if she would make those same weird faces if I was fucking the shit out of that immaculate pussy. By the way. Regardless,
Dude.
Tony Storm made a hell of a convincing argument when they had their contract signing between her and Rhea Ripley. She said, "I feel like I'm better this time around than I was when I lost to become the inaugural NXT UK Championship, because I did compete in the second Mae Young Classic and I fought better competition and I beat Io Shirai in the finals to become the Mae Young Classic winner." And she has a lot of compelling arguments. Rhea Ripley will walk out as the NXT UK Women's Champion tomorrow. They are two very, very capable women of carrying that show. They are the two best, and it's not even close. And they are the future of the women's division in WWE, both of them. I am a huge fan of Toni Storm. She is a beautiful woman. Yes, I will say that. But she is a very, very, very good in-ring performer. And I also think that Rhea Ripley is that badass bitch who's going to kick your ass. I think Rhea Ripley wins, and I think Rhea Ripley wins with nefarious tactics.
All right. I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I think they want to put a big stamp on this show, and they want to have a couple of big moments. Toni Storm, I think everybody assumed going in, was going to win the NXT UK Women's Championship, going to be the first one, and I think they had their eyes completely set on, like, hey, we're going to do an NXT UK takeover. What's a bigger moment? Having her win against Rhea Ripley and being the first ever, or having her go against Rhea Ripley and winning at the first ever pay-per-view that they have for the brand? Bigger moment to me would be having the pay-per-view moment. I'm going with Toni Storm, who she has more people in wrestling know of Toni Storm than Rhea Ripley. And she's a bigger name, and nothing against Rhea Ripley. Toni Storm's just bigger name, bigger draw, and I think that's how they're going to go.
Okay.
That's just me, bro.
You're entitled.
So.
I wanted to say Toni Storm, but I think Rhea Ripley's going to end up taking it. I don't see them taking the title off of her that quickly.
I might be wrong.
And I might be wrong.
We both might be wrong. So, yeah.
If the Lord is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
Oh, all right. So we got Carrie, who says she is absolutely digging the banner on the wall of the GOAT, Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that just leaves
The main event, baby.
NXT UK Championship match.
Rhea Ripley's brother, Pete Dunne
versus. I need a cup of coffee.
Joe Coffey, Brian Coffey, Mark Coffey, John Coffey,
Cup of
Coffey, all the coffees. I'm going to say, again, because they want to make, pardon the expression, an impact, I think Gallus is going to get involved in this, and I think we're going to see Joe Coffey win this match. Pete Dunne has been a great carrier of the NXT UK brand and name, but if you want to get over somebody new, you need to do it in a big way. And as much as I have my I wasn't thrilled with Coffey's promo the other week. I can see a lot of potential there, and I think there's more money in Pete Dunne chasing than there is in a bunch of people who's lined up after Joe Coffey. Nobody. So that, in my mind, is the reason why Joe Coffey wins. I'm sure there's going to probably be a melee like where Gallus comes out there and causes fuckery, but I think Mustache Mountain will also come out because they're going to come for revenge because Gallus will have beat the fuck out of them after their match and set up their tag team war going forward.
Or Gallus cost them the tag team titles.
Well, you already said that.
Yeah,
But,
saying, and you also said that could be the.
It could be. It definitely could be.
I don't remember who exactly it was who said it, and I was actually going to grab my phone and look it up really quick, but I didn't want to do that. So, but there is an old saying that's been said a lot of times. All great things must come to an end. And for me, Pete Dunne, over 600 days as the UK champion, as much as it upsets me that I'm going to say this, will not be walking out of NXT UK Takeover Blackpool as the UK champion. I'm going with Joe Coffey. And not only does Joe Coffey win, Joe Coffey wins clean.
Interesting. All right.
And I think that Gallus will come out and celebrate. Maybe Mustache Mountain comes to Pete Dunne to check on him after the match, and shit happens, and some bullshit happens. But I can see what you're saying with the whole Gallus getting involved. I just wanted to.
Oh, it'd be nice if it was clean.
When they started doing this whole thing where there was going to be Joe Coffey versus Pete Dunne, I said, you know what? Eventually Pete Dunne's going to drop the title. They're not going to have him get to Bruno Sammartino territory.
Well, I mean, he needs another 10 years.
If he beats Joe Coffey, then yes, I can see him getting to a point where he keeps fucking winning the championship. But you're right. What do you do after Joe Coffey loses? Well, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to have his fucking
Who's the next person?
His brother? Fucking Wolfgang? Maybe fucking the winner of the Dennis Mastiff match? Maybe fucking Jordan Devlin?
Angry Elf?
You can have fucking, what are you going to have? William Regal, his dad, come after him?
You never know.
So that's why I picked Joe Coffey to be the man that I think is going to win this match, because I think Joe Coffey has the best chance. The only person
it sets up more things going down the line.
You know, I actually thought in this war, because I'm terrible with names, but Zach Gibson was the guy I really thought was going to take the championship from Pete Dunne, and then now he got relegated to the tag team division.
Nothing wrong with that, too. I enjoy Drake and Gibson.
I think Gibson's going to end up winning it. So, the tag team titles. And I think he should have won the NXT UK Championship. But
yeah.
I feel like we've touched base on everything.
Yeah, I think so.
Did we talk about AEW?
We did.
Did we talk about the Lars Sullivan situation where he went MIA?
Yes.
He's now on fucking milk cartons?
Right.
Did we talk about the other NXT call-ups? Like my boy EC3 and my girl Nikki Cross?
We did.
And our favorite tag team in the entire universe, Heavy Machinery.
Damn straight.
With fucking Otis Dosevich, the fucking master of the fucking buffet line.
Taki!
Did we do our good, the bad, and the brainless?
Damn straight we did.
Did we make our predictions for the NXT UK champion takeover?
Yes.
Blackpool?
Yes.
Did we plug our podcast?
Yeah, but we're going to do it again. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen on Daily Wrestling Entertainment or on Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, we also have an Instagram. We are at the FN Marks.
I forgot about YouTube.
I did say YouTube.
Did you really?
I did.
No, I think you
have another drink, dude.
Because you said Facebook. You said our.
Have another drink.
You're probably right. I should.
Anyway,
THE, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS.
You like us?
Subscribe to us and follow us on any of those. We will
follow you back.
Follow or subscribe to you back, because
if we can.
Our mantra. If we can, yes.
So
I think that's everything.
Enjoy the shows tomorrow, and
I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm going to enjoy that more than I'm going to enjoy.
I can't wait until you pull your hamstring tomorrow playing kickball, man.
I can't either.
Yeah,
and I'm
good times, man.
As much as I'm going to enjoy this cigarette after the show, the cigarette and the leak I'm going to have to take.
So definitely big props to Daily Wrestling Entertainment.
Thank you for this opportunity to have us expand our horizons.
And we're glad to provide some content for you guys on your Facebook.
And thank you to all of our previous followers and viewers, and to our new viewers and followers from both from all of the sites
From
and
all the
everything,
social
all
media.
the social media outlets, and I feel like that's everything.
You know, I think there's one thing left.
Really?
One thing left to
Sure.
do, and it's the way we like to end our damn show.
With the exclamation point.
Yes, with the goat.
Are you? Is it because of the fact that today, January 11th of 2019, for the third time technically this week that we've done this, at an astonishing 1,447 days,
The
FM Marks Hall of Famer Curtis Axel is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Yes. And with that,
This is episode 114 of the FM Marks podcast,
I am Jay.
and I am the brainless one,
Brainless Bob.
as we sign off on episode 114 of the FM Marks podcast. Make sure you mark out.
With your clock out. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Go Pete Dunne!
Yes. All right, see you.
Later.